Shabath Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for another week. Ending of the week. We made it through the week. All praises to the Most High. We have to be grateful, whatever state we're in, to be grateful that we have life and that we're on the right path. Most High willing, we're going down the narrow road because broad is the way to destruction. And we know what times we're living in. We can see the times. We just have to make earnest effort to put our mind on the right place and know that Most High can give us a second chance, can give us a better victory. Right? The road might be dark, but hey, you never know what tomorrow holds. Right? It could be even greater. We will get put through tests and trials and tribulations to try our spirit. Uh, if our brother's ready, we can get straight into it. So the lesson is owning versus renting, and then the second part of the lesson is jealousy. So it's a two-part lesson. I'm going to do jealousy first, and then I'm going to do owning versus renting after. So this lesson will be on jealousy, and then the second part of the lesson will be on owning versus renting. Play some videos, bring up some scriptures, have some commentary, and get some feedback if it's the most as well. Oh, okay. So let me pull up first and foremost the difference between jealousy and envy, or envious and yeah, jealousy. How do I do this? Share the screen. Right, so key differences. Envy is the desire for something someone else has, a two-person interaction, while jealousy is the fear of losing something you already possess to someone else, a three-person interaction. Envy focuses on longing and resentment of another's advantage, whereas jealousy is rooted in anxiety, suspicion, and fear of loss. Key differences: envy, two-person. You want what someone else has. Example, I envy her promotion is often accompanied by feelings of inferiority. Jealousy, three-person. You fear losing what someone. So you fear losing what you have to a third party. Example, I'm jealous of the time my partner spends with them. Is often triggered by a perceived threat to relationship. Right, the focus now. Envy is I want that, while jealousy is don't take this from me. And this is why the most I said not to covet. And also the most famous scripture, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. So obviously when you covet, you're gonna want what the person has in it rather than it being jealousy and you say, I don't want to take this for me, or someone else is in the same job as me, they might take that job for me. So you might go out your way to make sure they don't take that job for me. Uh, Ultimately, definitely don't be envious, but I'm going to show there is some good signs of jealousy because remember, the Most High is jealous for us. And also, there's a scripture that says in the New Testament, in the epistles, that he's envy for he's jealous for Israel, all right, wanting us to be closest to Christ. So that just shows the wording and the actual difference between jealousy and envious. Come on, no. Stop sharing. Okay. So let's get the book of Proverbs 27 and 4. Uh, Proverbs 27 and 4. Yeah, Proverbs 27 and 4. Start off the first part lesson on jealousy. Hopefully, everyone's got their Bibles, the Bible apps on their phones. If you've got any notepads, if you take it down in your head, or if you're just listening and getting edified, all praise most high either way. So give them a couple of minutes to get it, or a couple of seconds to get it. Proverbs 27, verse 4. 27, 27. Okay, yeah, Proverbs 27, verse 4. Well, the name being described as well. Praise the Most High. Oh, so there, it's on the screen for someone if you want to read if you haven't got a Bible or if you haven't got the scripture yet. So can someone grab that for me, please? Proverbs 27 and 4. Have we got a reader? Is there a reader there? Shalom, shalom. Can we hear? Can I be heard? Can someone hear me? I'm on mute. Should be off mute. Nathan, can you hear me? I might be on mute. Hold on one second.
Oh,
Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, go on.
Khan. Yeah, I can hear you. Can hear you.
First and awesome. Who's that speaking?
This is Sana'a. I can read it if you want.
This is who?
Sana'a.
Oh, okay. I don't believe I met you before. Shalom, Anikin.
Shalom. Do you want me to bring it out?
Yeah, it's on the screen if you can read it. That's what I was asking
Khan.
Nathan if you could
Yeah.
hear me, but I don't think you can hear me. Oh, yeah, no, go on.
Okay. This is Proverbs 27, verse 4. Wrath is cruel and anger is outrageous, but who is able to stand before envy?
Yeah, so it's put it this way, someone could be cruel to you, someone could be angry towards you, but who's able to stand before envy? An envious person, you don't know what they're gonna do because they want something from you, right? So the comparison is not and void because hey, what are they gonna go out their way to do if they want something that you have, right? With someone being cruel, you can get over that. That's a mean person. All right, maybe I just don't be around them. Someone is angry, okay, maybe I just don't again be around them. But someone is envious, you don't know what they're gonna do. You don't know the next card they're gonna pull. Right, so you have to be careful with envious people, and we shouldn't be envious. And if you see anyone doing these things, you should tell them, look, this is not the way we should do, or this is not the way we should be. And the law actually states we shouldn't covet our neighbor's house, wives, or anything that's our neighbor's. We shouldn't want what they want. And we just read the definition or the meanings comparing envious to jealousy. All right, so the next precept is Galatians 5 and 19 to 21. Galatians 5 and 19 to 21. Okay.
Okay. Go on. Galatians 5, verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh.
Yeah. So yeah, the works of the flesh are these things that are named, these things that are listed, and we shouldn't have any envyings toward one another or want what another person has. Right. I want to get actually the law, in fact, as well. We can leave that there. We can get Exodus 20 and I believe verse 17. We're just going through the difference between envy and jealousy. We soon get to jealousy, where they're often put up against each other. So it's good to know the difference. What is it? Exodus 20 and yeah, 17. Exodus 20 and 17. Exodus 20 17. It's on the
This
screen.
is
Yeah.
come on. This is Exodus chapter 20, verse 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
So you're not meant to want anything that's your neighbor's and covet it, and have a strong lust or strong desire towards it. Right? When we go back to envy and versus or envious versus jealousy. Uh, Envy is generally longing for a quality, object, or status that another person has. So you basically want what someone else has, and like I want this or I want that, and that will be going into covetous or being coveted towards someone else's property. All right. Let's go back to the previous scripture, which was Galatians 5 and 19. Go back to Galatians 5 and 19.
I've got the script. I can continue reading. I've got the scripture here. Okay. Galatians chapter 5, verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these:
But no,
adultery,
you have to go for the
fornication.
so like you have to go for the whole list. That's one of the first bit. So these are fleshly things,
Okay,
isn't it? We're spiritual people. We shouldn't have fleshly things on our mind. And if we do, we have to shake it off by praying, reading, fasting. You know the program, you know what we normally say. Right? And this is how you get rid of these things, especially envying. Right? You're sitting down maybe on TikTok, you're on Instagram. What's the other social media outlets? X, which used to be Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat. Hey, maybe you're on Vimeo or you're on
TikTok.
yeah, I said TikTok already, about Patreon. Maybe you're on something else, so you're just seeing someone else's life in it. Maybe you're on a streaming site. Maybe you're on Netflix, a series, and you see someone from your old school or for your college. If you go, "Oh, I want what they have. I want," and you're doing it so much, you're willing to go out your way to break the commandments of God, or even to have some type of hatred or ill will toward this person. And we shouldn't have these things. Again, we're gonna go through the difference between being jealous and having a good jealousy, which there is something called a good jealousy. I'm gonna bring out the scripture to prove that. And then envying, which is there ain't nothing no good envying. You shouldn't want what someone else has. The law is there. It says playing upon tables. So you can't covet what someone else has. So yeah, these are the works of the flesh, and we're spiritual people. Right? We always say that we're not religious, we're spiritual. So we have to have a mind on spiritual things, getting our body right, ultimately getting our spirit right. So our body is not going to just lust for certain things and just be of the world. Right. So let's get Job chapter 5 and verse 2. Job 5 and 2.
This is Job chapter 5, verse 2. For wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one.
Yeah, envy is going to slay the silly one, man. Yeah, it's silly to just sit there wanting what someone else has, man. Right? Go and get your own. Right? Go and get your own wife, go and get your own house, right? Saying that we're gonna get into renting versus owning in the second part. But anyway, go and get your own wife, get your own house, right? Get your own car, get your own watch, right? Or whatever things that you want to have that the other person has, and you say, I want that. Go and get your own job, your own promotion, go and get your own skills, right? Go and be a driving instructor if you see someone doing it and making money or whatever the case may be, right? Go and get some Ray-Bans or a new hat or whatever the case may be that someone else has. You shouldn't covet or want what that person has to the point where it's to the point of envying someone. Oh, why couldn't I have that? Why do they have to have that? XYZ, XYZ, right? So these things we got to understand, man, and just have our mind on righteous things and not on carnal things, right? Let's get the book of, oh, let's go into jealousy now. Let's get Second Corinthians 11 and 2. But before you get that, hold on. I need to load up the videos. Give me 1 second. Just have that loaded for me, Babakasha. Second Corinthians 11 and 2.
Go on.
Hopefully everyone's having a peaceful Shabath, taking it easy. So let's get Zechariah 8 and 2. You still need me to show it on the screen, yeah? Okay, go. I got you, I got you. There you go. Zechariah 8 and 2.
You want Zechariah first, yeah?
Go on. Just hold the other one,
Okay.
load that up for me,
Okay.
Babakasha, and then bring this up when you have it.
This is Zechariah chapter 8, verse 2. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury.
Good. Because at the end of the day, the Most High don't want us worshiping no other gods. Like the same thing with your woman. You don't want to spending time with another man. So yeah, you're gonna be jealous. The scriptures talk about a husband being jealous, a spirit of jealousy actually falling on a husband. Right? So there's nothing wrong with being jealous. You just gotta understand, listen, at the end of the day, you don't want to confuse that with being envious. Right? And there is again, there's good jealousy as well, as there can be bad jealousy. Right? You're just jealous of someone else and you just don't want them to be in your position and you don't want to lose your job to them or whatever the case may be, vice versa, or vice versus you just wanting to have someone's job and you don't care what's going to happen to them. That will be going into being envious or having envy. We're going to go over the verses again and the meanings again and to understand you can be jealous and not want someone else to spend time with someone else, but in a good way. Or you could want your people to just get to the kingdom and you just want to spend all your time with them so they can get closer to Christ, which is what we're going to get into the next scripture. That'll be a good type of jealousy. So that's Zechariah 8 and 2. I'm going to get, you got it already, yeah? The Second Corinthians. You can pull that up as well. Sure.
Go on. Yeah. Go on. This is
Cool. I actually want to pull up this in a minute.
go
We'll
on.
get that. We'll get that in a minute. We'll get that. So Second Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 2. See that? I'm just going to pull up on the screen.
This is Second Corinthians chapter 11, verse 2. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy, for I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ.
Yeah, so Paul said, I'm jealous over you. It was a godly jealousy, right? Proving that there is a good type of jealousy, right? Only wanting time with the Israelites to get them closer to Christ, that he may have them espoused to one husband, right? Not to serve another gods, right? Being into idolatry, right? That he may present you a chaste virgin to Christ. Because remember, we committed spiritual fornication. We're married unto Christ, right? When you read the scriptures, right? So, in a day, you can have a good jealousy toward your people, toward your husband, your wife, your brethren, right? Only want to spend time with them. You don't want them to go off. You don't want them to be out in the world, right? You want to like just be closer to your brethren, right? Hey, I was with my elder today, man, right? Kind of like, yeah, man, there's a good time here today, man, right? Good little vibe and everything, right? So yeah, all praise to the Most High, man. We just appreciate what time we have with each other, and sometimes we want it to be more, and say, nah, if only we had more time, or Most High willing, let's go and do this, man. You know what? Yeah, I was gonna go and do X, Y, Z, but I spend time with my brethren, man. Right? I have a certain time with my brethren to extend the time, or whatever I was gonna do. I was gonna eat some food, or whatever the case may be. I'll do that later, or whatever the case may be. Right? And we have a jealous type of love toward our brethren to spend more time with them and risk not losing time that we don't know we're going to get back. Right? We're living in some serious times. We don't know when we're going to see each other again. We don't know when we're going to have another camp, another feast day, another Sabbath lesson, right? Another talk. We don't know. So we have to kind of be jealous of each other to spend more time with each other and say, nah, let's just spend an extra hour. Like when you're in the world and your brethren might come over and say, bro, you might as well watch one more film. You might as well drink one more drink. That's kind of like a type of good jealousy or whatever the case may be because he wants to be around his brother or vice versa for your sister, right? Spend another hour eating ice cream and watching a movie or whatever the case may be, right? Knowing they got work tomorrow, but you enjoy the time around your brethren, around your family, and you kind of want them to stay and keep them away from what they're going to do, innit? Basically. So, yeah, let's go back to Zachariah. Go on, touch on the commentary on that. Right, so Zechariah 8 and 2, for the most I said he's jealous for Zion with great jealousy. Whoa, God. And I was jealous for her with great fury. God. This indicates a passionate defense of his people and city. Yeah, passionate for your people. Right? God. Protection. God's jealousy is often shown as a reaction to Israel's suffering at the hands of other nations. Restoration. It serves as a promise to bring back captives and restore Jerusalem. Purification. The jealousy is not just protective, but also because he expects holiness and faithfulness from his people. A lot of times when you have a godly jealousy and a good jealousy toward your brethren and sister, and you expect goodness from them. Right? How much more the Most High for us? Uh, Jealousy definition in this context it is not envy, and that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between envy and jealousy. In this context, it is not envy, but an intense, zeal-driven protection and exclusive commitment to His covenant with Israel. So let me get the biblical commentary for Second Corinthians 11 and 2. Okay. And while you're waiting, brother, you can load up James 3 and 16, Baba Kusha. James 3 and 16.
Oh,
Context and meaning. In this passage, the Apostle Paul uses a marriage metaphor to describe his relationship with the church at Corinth. Godly jealousy, unlike human envy, Paul's godly jealousy is a protective. Again, we're hearing the word protective. Just how the Most High is jealous with great fury, right? And is protective. So is the same type of jealousy on a lower level for Paul towards his people and how we should have that towards our people, right? Not in a controlling way, right? Or you just want to spend all the time with that person and you don't care if they're going to miss out their job. Not in that type of way. It's a godly jealousy, a righteous jealousy, a protective jealousy, right? Divine concern for the believer's spiritual welfare and their exclusive devotion to the Most High. Yeah, you want a betterment for your people. Espousal, betrothal, as we know, to be promised unto a husband or wife. Paul views himself as the marriage friend who has betrothed the church to its one husband, Yahushua Mashiach. God. Chase version, his ultimate goal is to keep the church spiritually pure, free from the influence of false teachers and another gospel, so he can present them to Mashiach at his return. God. All praise the Most High. Before you get that, King, hold on. Let me get James quickly. A precept that's come to my mind. Before you get that. So, like, yeah, the scriptures say, quench not the spirit. Let me get the book of James. Pardon me, chapter. Actually, let me get James chapter 4 and verse 4. Yeah, James 4 and 4.
this is book of James, chapter 4, verse 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Yahweh?
So for
Whosoever
us,
therefore,
Salakia, for us to be adulterers and adulteresses, we would have to be married unto Christ, right? To commit spiritual fornication, right? So us to go off into other gods and commit what? Adultery. Right. Just to prove that the scripture that we just read, that was just a precept for that. Let's go back to, or let's go for James 3:16. We're in James in it, so that's good. James 3:16.
This is James chapter 3, verse 16. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work.
Come on. So here we're back at envy now. We're back at envy, right, showing the difference. Right. I ain't seen a good envy yet. Haven't seen a good envy yet. Or any type of way you can envy someone good. There's a scripture, James 3:16. Right. So with envy, there's every evil work and confusion. Right. No one knows what's going on. Just a bag of confusion. Right. So let me not tire out the reader. Let's get some videos. Give the brother a break, man, from reading. So let me go back. Stop sharing the screen. And then reshare the screen again. Okay. So you've got a few videos to play. Marcel Williams, a bit of commentary, and a bit of dialogue after the videos to get everyone's perspective or to get some views on jealousy. And not the good type of jealousy. So that.
I have something to tell you. I'm an AI agent, and I can build apps and websites for
of their own struggles. Since alone, you ever wonder why people get so jealous of you, even when you're just minding your own business? As a chosen one, your presence alone can stir up intense emotions in others, especially jealousy. It's not because of anything you're doing wrong, it's because of the powerful energy you carry. You've probably noticed that when you walk into a room, you change the vibe without even trying. People can sense that there's something unique about you. It's in your confidence, your authenticity, your light. And that light? It shines so brightly that it can make others uncomfortable, especially those who feel insecure or less than in comparison. But how do you deal with that jealousy without letting it dim your light? First, you need to understand that jealousy often has nothing to do with you personally. When people project their insecurities onto you, it's usually because they see something in you that they wish they had. It might be your resilience, your charisma, your talent, or just your overall energy. And instead of being inspired by you, they feel threatened. That's when jealousy starts to creep in. They'll make snide comments, throw shade, or try to bring you down with negativity. But the key is to recognize this for what it is, a reflection of their own struggles. It's not about you, it's about them. So how do you handle this? The first step is to protect your energy. When you realize that someone is acting out of jealousy, don't take it personally. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, ground yourself in the truth that their jealousy is their problem, not yours. Don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you react. Stay calm, collected, and confident in who you are. If you let their jealousy get under your skin, you give away your power. Remember, your light is your strength, and the moment you allow someone's negativity to affect you, you're letting them win. Another powerful tool is compassion. It might sound counterintuitive, but responding to jealousy with kindness and understanding can disarm your critics. When you show compassion, you remind yourself that everyone is on their own journey. Maybe they haven't found their path yet. Maybe they're struggling with self-worth. While this doesn't excuse their behavior, it helps you stay above the drama. You don't need to stoop to their level. In fact, by keeping your cool and showing empathy, you maintain control of the situation. But there's another layer to this: setting boundaries. Just because you can show compassion doesn't mean you should allow toxic behavior to continue. If someone's jealousy turns into a pattern of negativity, manipulation, or disrespect, it's okay to distance yourself. You have every right to protect your peace. That might mean cutting ties with people who don't have your best interests at heart. Or it might mean speaking up and letting them know their behavior is unacceptable. Either way, boundaries are essential for keeping your energy clear and positive. Now, here's the thing: as a chosen one, you're destined for greatness. You're meant to make waves, to break the mold, to rise above. But with that comes resistance. Not everyone will be able to handle your energy, your power, your success. And that's okay. You're not here to please everyone, nor are you here to shrink yourself to make others feel comfortable. The world needs your light exactly as it is, bright, bold, and unapologetic. Don't let anyone dim it just because they're jealous. In fact, you should take the jealousy you attract as a compliment. It means you're doing something right. It means people notice your greatness, even if they can't admit it. Instead of feeling weighed down by the negativity, let it fuel your growth. Let it remind you that you're walking a path that not everyone has the courage to take. And that's why they're jealous. They see in you what they wish they could see in themselves, so keep shining. Keep pushing forward. Keep being unapologetically you. Jealousy will always be there, but it doesn't have to affect you. You're on a higher path, one that requires strength, resilience, and a deep sense of self-worth. And as long as you stay true to who you are, no amount of jealousy can stand in your way.
Hey, what's up? Do you want to socialize and fix your mood? Enjoy video chats with new people nearby and have fun? Start now.
What if you had just about any health and wellness product you need?
Yeah, there we have it. First video. I've got to be careful not to swipe this away and stop the whole live. Any comments or anything anyone noticed about the video? But no, he said you chosen ones. So is everyone feeling like they're the chosen ones? I hope so. I hope so. Right, so no one's got enough to say about the video. Kick on. Go to the next video. So like I forgot to share the screen. See that?
It's the way they don't clap when you win. All right, let's be real. You've been feeling it, that weird vibe, those little comments, the way they don't clap when you win. And you've been telling yourself, no, they're my friend. They wouldn't be jealous of me, but deep down, you know the truth. Yes, they're jealous of you. I hate to say it. And yes, they're probably been talking about you behind your back. So today I'm breaking down 7 signs that your so-called friend, BFF, is not really your friend. And if any of these sound familiar, it's time to wake up and move on. Because keeping jealous people in your life is like watering weeds and wondering why your garden won't grow. Just can't. All right, so sign number 1, they minimize your success. Whenever you share a win, they hit you with comments like, oh, that's cute, or don't get too big-headed, always stay humble. Instead of celebrating you, they act like your success is no big deal. You tell them about your promotion and they say, well, let's see how long you're gonna keep that job. Why this matters? Well, they can't stand that you're leveling up because it's highlighting their own lack of progress. They're not hating on your success. They're hating on their own reflection when they see you shine. Sign number 2, they disappear when you're winning. This is a big one. A lot of people do that. Have you ever noticed that? When you're struggling, they're always in your business. They're always around. But when you're thriving, this be ghosts. That's because success makes them uncomfortable. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to clap for you because it reminds them of what they're not doing and where they want to be. See, you post a big win, they don't like, they don't comment, or they don't say a word, but they're all over your sad post. What's the matter? A real friend shows up even in your wins, not just your losses. If they can't celebrate with you, they don't deserve a front row seat to your life. I've been through that a lot, especially those first 2. You know what I'm saying? I think I fell out with a friend early, like in the middle of last year, because I dropped my first #1 EP, Do Not Disturb. And instead of like coming to my release party with me and my boys, They came over and they were just like super negative, asking why I was excited, comparing myself to other people, just always finding something wrong with it. And it was like bringing me like, you could have fixed this, you could have did this, you could have did that. I'm just like, bro, what #1 on iTunes? We didn't need to fix anything, you know? It was enough. And I'm just like, then they started comparing me to other YouTubers and other people that drop music and stuff like that. I'm just like, this is a weird energy. So I ended up kicking them out of my place because I'm like, I don't really like that type of vibe. You know, I don't like people comparing themselves to me. I've had a lot of hater friends in the past. I've had people that come around me and you could always tell that they just never want to be excited for you when you're winning, you know? They never want to see, I notice everybody, especially one of my friends, I notice what friends like my posts, what friends don't like my posts, you know, got a new car, they didn't like it, but like, you like weird, like I've seen people like weird on my page. Like, you don't like this one where I'm, you know, got my brand new Corvette, you know, it's got thousands of likes, but then you like this one-off stupid post, or you mentioned something dumb in the background of a video that I made. And I'm like, that's weird, you know? Or you notice that those people are not around when you're winning, you know, when you got good stuff happening, they're never available. But when things start to fall short for you or you're stressed out, they're available, but they're not available to help. Don't get it twisted. They're not really available to help, but they're available to be there for like a listening ear. Like they just want the tea. You know what I'm saying? They're not really there to add anything to it. They're not actually there to actually make your life easier. They're just there because they feel like, you know, you're finally on their level, or you're brought back down, you know? And so I find that I don't really have that many friends because a lot of people, they have made me feel.
Upon opening the book, something shifted. And as she read, her thoughts rearranged. Explore your story.
That many friends because a lot of people, they have made me feel like when I'm celebrating my wins, especially some of my friends that are not where I'm at or on my level or whatever the case may be, they have made me try like feel bad, like, oh, somehow like I'm all about me, or I'm a narcissist, or like I'm so selfish or self-absorbed. And it's like, no, I'm just happy that I've been successful and I'm doing, you know, what I'm doing, and I'm growing as a person. And it's just really, really interesting that, you know, I can sit up there and talk about their wins and talk about what they got going on all day long. But then when I talk about me, it's like I'm talking about myself too much, you know? But it's not like they're ever gonna bring up, oh, I'm proud of you. Oh, I see what you did there. Or that was a vibe, or you're killing it. You gotta pay attention to that. Them people that never really bring up your wins, or they never shout you out, or they never be like, oh, my boy is killing it. My dog is eating it up. I'm so proud of you. They're haters. They're haters. They are haters, and they're jealous of you. They're jealous of you. Because then the whole thing is, they'll expect you though, especially if you're perceivably like doing better or have more money or whatever the case may be, they'll expect you to notice and bring up everything that they got going on, and then like be super into it. And in the moment you like are like kind of into it, or maybe you might seem like you're not as into it, it's like you're a bad person. But they're never gonna see you winning and be like, congratulations, or I see that for you, or I'm proud of what you're doing. They just almost chalk it up to like, oh, well, you've been doing this, you know? And then you become obligated to like focus on everything about them. Sign number 3, they're overly competitive. Jealousy often shows up as competition. Instead of being happy for you, they try to one-up you every chance they get. You get a new car, they suddenly need to flex about their next big purchase. You share an idea and then somehow they make it about them. Example, you tell them, you're starting a new business, and the next thing you know, they're acting like they've invented entrepreneurship. It's like, what? Why this matters? Well, they're not in competition to grow. They're competing to make you feel smaller. They're competing to make you feel smaller. That's very important because they don't want you to ever feel like you've got too far ahead of the program. But you'll notice when you do get farther out, they just shut down and disappear. And especially if you always find yourself like bickering with them slightly, you'll notice that it's coming from a hater energy. And they're gonna show themselves. They show themselves every time. It's not a friendship. It's a silent competition they signed up for without telling you. Sign number 4, they gossip about you. Let's call it what it is. They're running their mouth behind your back And you'll know it's them because the gossip always finds its way back to you. They'll disguise it as concern, but don't be fooled. They're trying to plant seeds of doubt about you and other people's minds. Example, you hear things about yourself from mutual friends and you're wondering where it started. You're like, what? And why does this matter? Well, someone who respects you will address you directly, not talk about you to anyone else. If they're always the first one to hear drama about you, well, it's because they started it. And I want to be clear on that. I had a friend that I brought on YouTube, right? Been jealous of me for years. This guy had been jealous of me since we were in literally elementary school. We never really liked each other, but we got cool. But the guy had been jealous of me since high school. Well, really elementary. I was always like the dance captain. I was always like, you know, the singer, the performer. He was never really that. He was always like the unattractive, kind of overweight, you know, didn't really know who he was, kind of loser. And it was like, I would audition for stuff. Of course, I would get the role. I would become the captain. Then he would try to audition for the same stuff, or like he would have to audition for my team. I didn't put him on the team because I just didn't think that he was great. I mean, he wasn't good at performing. He really wasn't good at music. Those were not his strengths. So he was always jealous of me. But however, we ended up being cool after. Now, my mom, my sisters, my whole family, they always told me, they're like, yo, you got to watch this dude. You got to watch this dude. This dude is like a hater. And I just still kept him around because I thought he was cool. But as we got older, every little thing that we did, like he would try to like one up me or like take something from underneath me. And then we got to a point where we were on YouTube. And I found out later on, because on YouTube, you know, there's a place for everybody on YouTube. There's literally a place for everybody on YouTube. So, you know.
Okay, so that's on that. Like you get the gist of each other. Any comments or anything they notice about the video? Anything you want to bring up regarding jealousy or any people in the past? It's for anyone as well that anyone noticed brought back memories. Brother can get Romans 12:1. Go on. So brother can get Romans 12:1. Go on. Guess we.
Yeah, just relating to what was just played. When the brother touched on the fact that when he was doing well, his friends were nowhere around. But I think he was saying that, but when he wasn't doing so good, people felt better being around him because it made them feel good. But I'd also contrast that also with the other side to the coin. And it's in a precept I was thinking of in Sirach 37.
Oh, you can bring it.
Sirach 30. I'll bring it out, yeah?
Go.
Yeah, it's Sirach 37, verse 4, which says, there is a companion which rejoiceth in the prosperity of a friend, but in the time of trouble will be against him. And that's just the other side to it when you're doing well and people are around you, you know, everything's good. But then when you fall onto hard times and then your friend's not there, that kind of shows the level of that kind of friendship. So it's just the other side to what he was saying. There's, you know, people that are around you when things are going well. But when you're, you know, when you're in despair, when you I don't know, lost a job or relationship, and then friends not around you, it's like that's when you need the friend most, not just when things are going well. So
Yeah.
that was
They
that.
say as well, beautifully brought out and beautifully broken down. All praise to the Most High. They say in the world, they want you to do well or they want you to do good, but not better than them. So you have
Yeah,
some
kind of.
friends who do good, but never better than them, and that's where the jealousy thing comes into it because they feel like you're taking their spot, right? We've got the definition of jealousy already. They don't want you to have that something that they feel like is theirs or should be theirs. So they do any and anything to
Mm,
get you not in that position or not you or not in that type of realm or not even in that space to obtain that because if they see you have that, they're not going to be able to bear it. So yeah, man, that precept also
cool. Yeah.
is a precept for another scripture I want to bring out as well. But let's get Romans 12:2 first, and then I'll get a precept for the scripture you brought
Okay.
in Sirach. So Romans 12:1 through 2. Romans 12:1 through 2.
Okay. This is Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. And
My
be not
screen,
conformed.
yeah. Can you hear me? My screen's frozen, you know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, yeah. Can't.
Okay, so it's not letting me share the screen, but it's all right. It's not letting me share the screen, but it's all right. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
just the blank. It's all right. Yeah, as long as you can hear me, that's amazing. So anyway, yeah, read that one more time, Babusha. I thought it was gonna lock off the whole thing, you know.
Read verse 1 again. Yeah.
Go on.
Uh, Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service.
Come on.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh.
So yeah, we can't be conformed to the world. We can't be doing what the worldly people do. We're meant to be a light to the Gentiles, a light to the other nations, and the Gentiles who are Israelites with a worldly mindset. Uh, so yeah, we can't be conformed to this world, but you have to be transformed, by the renewing of your mind. Have your spiritual eye open. In the world, they used to say, "I'm looking for the world. I'm looking at the world through my third eye." Right, for those that are in the conscious community, or those that had their eye open before they came into the knowledge that we are the chosen people, we're the Israelites. A lot of brothers used to say that, man. I'm looking through the world. I'm looking at the world through my third eye, man. Right, I mean that spiritual eye. Got your eye open. Right, no longer in the matrix, man. In the real world. Right? So yeah, let's get that precept for the precept you brought out in Sirach. So let's get Proverbs 17 and 17. You're going to know your friends by the things you go through, man. Adversity, you're going to know they're not jealous of you. You know they're not envious of you, right? You know they're not bitter towards you, right? Or you're going to know they don't want to hold you back, but they want to see the best for you. Chiefly, you should want better for your friend than he wants for himself, really, or at least as much as he wants, right? At least that. Right? Yeah, come on, bro. I know you can do that. Oh, come on, sis. I know you can do that. It's in you. Never give up. Keep going. Right? Try again. Right? Try again. I remember one time I was at work and someone came in for a drug and alcohol test and they failed it. They said they don't know why they failed it. And I'll never forget this. I was like, listen, try again. There's more companies you can try for. There's more companies you can try for. And you know what he turned around and said to me? He said, bro, I needed that, you know. I needed that. And in my head, I was thinking, yeah, man, that's the least I can do. I didn't know him from nowhere, didn't know nothing. He was in the toilet. He just came in. I was looking in the mirror and he said what he said. And I just gave him exhortation, upliftment, and good words, man. For like the words, man. Just gave him good words. No long speech. Didn't have to put out no precepts. Sometimes you just give someone good energy, good words. And because your spirit might be on the right path or he's on the right path and you're seeking godliness, they will feel that as if you did bring out a scripture. So yeah, he was happy, man. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with everyone. So yeah, you can read that, King. Proverbs 17 and 17.
Can't. This is Proverbs chapter 17, verse 17. A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity.
Yeah, man. It's like your friend's gonna love you at all times. Not when you're doing bad, not when you're doing good, all times. Right? And your brother's gonna be born for adversity, man. You're going through certain things, man. Trials and tribulations of life, man. No matter where it is, they're gonna be there for you, man. Loving messages, phone calls. They're not gonna be jealous of you, man. Right? Or kick you when you're down, man. That's one of the worst things to have, man. Someone kick you when you're down. When you're at your lowest, going through depression, stress. You don't know where to go, man. Your mind's somewhere else. And it kick you when you're down, man. Spread gossip or news about you, man. And things, there's secrets, man. There's no coming back from that. Right? No coming back from that. So I want to get another video. You got anything you want to say, brother? What do you say your name is, Sana?
Santa, yeah.
Oh,
No,
Sana.
all good.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, man. We'll praise to the Most High. Forward again for being a reader, man. Go through the list of the videos again.
I have something to tell you. I'm not human. I'm an AI agent.
Most dangerous jealous people do not yell at you. They do not ignore you. They do not roll their eyes. No, they smile. They ask questions. They act like they care. But those questions, they are traps, designed to steal your joy, plant doubt in your mind, and make you feel small without you even noticing. And here is what nobody tells you. Jealous people ask the same 5 questions, every single time. Once you know what to listen for, you will catch them instantly. You will see the trap before you fall into it. And you will protect your happiness like never before. So today, I am breaking down the 5 sneaky questions jealous people always ask, why they use them, and exactly what to say to shut them down. Because your wins are yours. Your joy is yours. And nobody gets to take that from you with fake concern. Let us go. Question 1. How did you afford that? Picture this. You just got something nice. New shoes, new phone, something you worked hard for. You are excited. You feel amazing. And then someone walks up and says, wow, how did you afford that? Sounds innocent, right? Like they are just curious. But wait, listen closer. They did not say congratulations. They did not say you deserve it. They went straight to your wallet, your money, your business. Why? Because jealous people cannot stand watching you win. So they try to make you explain yourself, make you feel guilty, make you feel like maybe you do not deserve it. Here is the trap. The second you start explaining, you lose. Now you are defending your happiness, justifying your purchase, like you owe them proof, but you do not. When jealous people see you happy, it reminds them they are not. So instead of celebrating with you, they question you. They poke holes. They make you uncomfortable. And if you fall for it, you will say things like, oh, it was on sale, or I have been saving forever, or it is not even that expensive. See that? You just made yourself smaller. You apologized for being happy. You downplayed your win. That is exactly what they wanted, because now they feel better. Now they can tell themselves, oh, it was just on sale. It is not a big deal. They took your moment and made it small, and you helped them do it. So what do you say instead? Simple. Smile and say, I worked for it. No details, no explanations, just confidence. Or say, I treat myself sometimes. Or, I am blessed. Keep it short, keep it strong, keep it final. Do not open the door for more questions. Do not give them permission to dig deeper, because your money is your business. What you buy is your business. How you spend is your business. And real friends, they do not question your money. They celebrate your wins. They say things like, that looks amazing on you, or you deserve nice things. But jealous people? They dig. They question. They try to find cracks. They want to make you feel bad so they can feel better. Do not let them. Protect your joy. Question 2. Are you sure that is a good idea? Okay. Next one. You are excited about something, a new job, a big decision, a dream you are finally chasing. Maybe you are moving to a new city. Maybe you are starting a business. Maybe you are learning something new. And someone says, are you sure that is a good idea? Boom. Your excitement drops. Now you are doubting yourself, thinking, wait, maybe I am making a mistake. Maybe I did not think this through. But stop. Think about this for a second. They did not ask about your plan. They did not ask what steps you are taking. They did not offer to help. They did not say they believe in you. They went straight to doubt, straight to fear, straight to making you unsure. That is not concern. That is jealousy wearing a mask. When you grow, jealous people feel left behind. They see you moving forward, being brave, taking chances, doing things they are too afraid to do. And instead of feeling inspired, they feel threatened, uncomfortable, scared. So they try to pull you back down, not because they care about you, but because watching you succeed makes them face their own fears. They plant doubt, they make you scared, and they do it with a caring face, with a worried voice, so you think they are helping. But they are not helping you. They are protecting themselves from the discomfort of watching you grow while they stay stuck. Think about it. If they truly cared, they would ask questions. They would say, tell me about your plan. They would say, how can I support you? But jealous people do not do that. They just drop the doubt bomb and walk away. They plant the seed of fear and leave you to water it. So, how do you respond? Stay firm. Look them in the eye and say, yes, I am sure, and I am going for it. No debate, no long explanation, just confidence, just certainty. You can also say, I have thought about it, and this is what I want. Or, I would rather try and fail than never try at all. Because here's the truth. Life is full of risk. Growth requires risk, and you cannot let other people's fear become your prison.
Real friends support you even when they are worried. They say, "That sounds scary, but I believe in you." Jealous people? They just drop out and disappear. They do not want to help. They want to stop you. Do not let them. Your dreams are worth the risk. Question 3. Who do you think you are? This one hurts the most. You are growing. You are confident. You are speaking up, showing up differently, walking taller, smiling bigger. Maybe you started dressing better. Maybe you stopped accepting disrespect. Maybe you started setting boundaries. And someone says, "Who do you think you are?" Or, "You have changed." Or, "You think you are better than us now?" Suddenly, you feel guilty. You feel bad. You start shrinking back into your old self just to make them comfortable. But wait, stop right there. Why is your growth their problem? Why does your confidence threaten them? I will tell you exactly why. Jealous people want you to stay the same. They want you small, predictable, controllable, quiet. Because when you grow, when you change, when you become more confident, it reminds them they are not growing. It reminds them they are stuck. And instead of being inspired by you, instead of letting your growth motivate them, they get angry. They get bitter. They do not say, "Wow, I am proud of you." They do not say, "Look at how far you have come." No, they make you feel bad for getting better. They punish you for improving. They attack you for growing. Think about how crazy that is. They are mad at you for being happier, for being healthier, for being more confident. Does that sound like friendship? Does that sound like love? Does that sound like support? No, that is jealousy. That is insecurity. That is fear. They want the old you back. The you who doubted yourself. The you who played small. The you who stayed quiet. So what do you say? Do not argue. Do not defend yourself. Do not try to prove you have not changed. Just look at them calmly and say, "I am becoming who I am meant to be." Or say, "I am growing, and I love who I am becoming." Then keep moving. Keep growing. Keep shining. Keep becoming. Because real friends celebrate when you level up. They cheer when you glow differently. Jealous people, they want the old you back, the version they could control. Do not go back. Ever. Keep growing. You owe that to yourself. Keep growing. You owe that to yourself. Question 4. Is that not a little much? Imagine this. You are happy. You are celebrating. Maybe you posted something online about a win. Maybe you dressed nice for an event. And someone says, "Is that not a little much?" Or, "Do you really need all that attention?" Or, "Why are you showing off?" Now you feel embarrassed. You feel awkward. Like maybe you are doing too much. Being too loud. Too proud. But let me ask you something important. Too much for who? Too much according to who? This question is not about you. It is about them. About their discomfort with your joy. Their discomfort with your shine. Jealous people cannot handle watching you glow. It makes them look at their own life and feel bad. So they try to dim your light. They try to make you feel bad for being bright. They say you are too loud, too happy, too successful, too confident. But here is the truth nobody tells you. You are not too much. You are just too much for them to handle. Your light is too bright for their darkness. Your joy is too loud for their silence. And instead of working on themselves, instead of finding their own light, they try to blow out yours. So, what do you say? Smile big and say, "I am just being myself." Or say, "I am happy and I will not apologize for that." Keep it simple. Keep it confident. Keep it unapologetic. Because you do not need to shrink. You do not need to hide. You do not need to dim your light so someone else feels comfortable. Real supporters do not tell you to tone it down. They turn up with you. They match your energy. Jealous people, they want you quiet, hidden, small. Do not listen to them. Be loud. Be proud. Shine bright. Question 5. Did someone help you with that? Last one. And this might sting the most. You did something amazing. You achieved something big. You worked hard and got results. Maybe you got promoted. Maybe you finished a big project. Maybe you created something beautiful. And someone looks at you and says, "Wow, that is amazing. Did someone help you with that?" At first, this sounds innocent, like they are just curious. But listen closer. Pay attention. They did not say, "You are so talented." They did not say, "You did an incredible job." They immediately assumed someone else did it. Why? Because jealous people cannot give you credit. They cannot accept that you are capable, that you are smart, that you are talented. It breaks their brain. It does not match the small picture of you they have in their mind. So they search for someone else to thank, someone else to praise. Anyone except you. And this question is dangerous, because it plants doubt in your mind. It makes you think, maybe I did not do enough. Maybe I do not deserve credit. You start downplaying your own success. You start giving credit away. But stop, right now. Yes, maybe people supported you. Maybe people encouraged you. And that is beautiful. But the work, that was you. The dedication, that was you. The result, that was you. So look them in the eye and say, I did it myself. No long explanation, just confidence, just ownership. Or say, thank you. I worked really hard on this. Own your success. Claim your win. Take your credit. Because real supporters say, you are incredible. They say, your hard work paid off. Jealous people say, who helped you? They say, you must have had support. See the difference? One celebrates you. One erases you. Do not let anyone erase your hard work. So here is what you do now. When you hear these 5 questions, do not panic. Do not get defensive. Just pause, take a breath, and ask yourself one question. Is this person celebrating me or trying to stop me? Because that is the real difference. Supporters lift you, jealous people pull you down. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You will spot jealousy from far away, and you will protect yourself. Not by being mean, but by staying strong, by staying confident. Because jealousy says more about them than you. So, keep shining, keep growing, keep winning. And when jealous people ask sneaky questions, smile, stay calm, and keep moving forward. Your success does not need their approval. You are doing great. Keep going. Now, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which question you have heard before. See you in the next one.
So you're telling me I can straighten my
Just reading the comments. Just reading the comments. Yeah, so that's that video there. Any comments? Anything anyone knows about the video? I'll get into the next video.
But
Finally, man, finally. Cause what I don't want is just to play videos back to back. It ain't got to be commentary on every single video, but at least one video you get a different person. But yeah, we've got a different person, whole person also. But commence.
you get a lot of that in when you make achievements in life, and even your family in it, and even even certain brothers in the truth as well, and that when you like do achievement in it, some brothers might not say all praise to Most High, man. Some brothers might just read the message, read the post in it, not say nothing in it. Same time as well, I've done a lesson on what that guy was saying as well, and monitoring spirits in it. Like some brothers go on the page in it, or go on your post in it, and don't say all praise to Most High. This will going to be monitoring your posts in it. It's going to be seeing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis in it. But they don't give thanks to Most High for you achieving something in your life in it. Just want to be looking in your posts all day and not saying all praise to Most High. Yeah, that's about it.
Go. I mean, hey, brothers like that just need to just be more communicative with other brothers and maybe get to know brothers and talk to brothers and what is that? That's good, or how is that? And yeah, man, if anyone else saw anything from the video, would like to say anything that reminded of themselves or anything that happened in life, like the brother Nathan just brought out and greatly explained, man. You do have monitoring spirits that monitor what you're doing, and they don't really want to give any type of like glorification to the Most High, or even like give you a pat on the back, or say keep up the good work, or just some type of a big up or praise in it. To say, yeah, man, that's good, man. To give you the accreditation and say, keep it going, man. I didn't know you was doing that, but that's good, man. XYZ. But all we got in it, and it don't even have to be a brother that's on the same path of you. It could be like someone that's in the world, or a family member that maybe just talks to you from time to time. Yeah, sometimes you get it from different people you don't even expect it from as well. Congratulations and stuff like that. Congratulations goes a long way. Big ups goes a long way. You don't know what someone's going through. So yeah, that was the insight from Brother Nathan. Anyone else before I play the next video? Going once, going twice. Alright, let's get into the next video. Let's get into the next video. This one's a bit long, so I'm gonna play a bit of it. I'll leave the title of the video later. Or I'll show the title of the video for people to check out later. I believe Fat Joe had a song called, or had an album called Jealous One Still Envy. Jose, I believe. Yeah, Jealous One Still Envy.
Don't buy another charger before you've seen this one. I bet you hate charging your phone while watching shows or streaming, right?
Wrong stuff that's irrelevant to your present. Let me tell you something.
I said we're not going to watch all of this. We'll get through probably like 10 minutes of it. And then you lot can kind of check out the video on your own. I'm going to show the title of it now. It's called 7 Signs Someone is Extremely Jealous of You. Listen to about 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. And then kind of check it out now.
Jealousy is a beast. It's one of those silent killers that can mess with your peace, your relationships, your growth, everything. But the thing is, most people don't even know how to recognize it when it's staring them in the face. They think it's just a little rivalry, a bit of competition, maybe even some harmless envy. But jealousy? Nah, it's much deeper than that. It's a poison. And if you don't know the signs, it'll creep up on you, sometimes even from the people closest to you. Now, you might be thinking, what does this have to do with me? But trust me, if you're out here doing your thing, building your life, making moves, living your best self, you've got people looking at you.
See that?
And some of those people, they won't be cheering for you. They'll be watching you, hoping you fall, hoping you mess up, hoping you fail. And those are the people who are extremely jealous of you. You need to spot them early, because once you know the signs, you can protect yourself and you can keep your peace. First sign, they can't be happy for your success. You ever had someone who you thought had your back, someone who was close to you, and the minute something good happens to you, whether it's a promotion, a new relationship, or even just something small that's positive in your life, they act like they can't handle it. They get distant. They don't call. They start acting weird. Yeah, that's jealousy. And it's toxic. You see, a lot of times we're quick to celebrate with people who we think are on our team. You're happy, they're happy, they're happy, right? That's what we believe. But when jealousy enters the picture, that's when things start to shift. You get that promotion at work, or you finally hit a milestone that you've been working towards for months or years, and instead of high fives and cheers, you get silence, or worse, you get criticism. The kind of criticism that's not constructive, no, it's just the kind that digs into your past mistakes or flaws. They'll remind you of things you did wrong, stuff that's irrelevant to your present, stuff that has nothing to do with what you've just accomplished. Why? Because they can't stand seeing you move forward. Now, don't get it twisted. You're not crazy for noticing this. This is something that happens all too often. And it's painful because you think that person would be happy for you, right? But that's the thing about jealousy. It's not about you. It's about them. Their jealousy is rooted in their own insecurities, in their own fears of not being enough, of not achieving what they wish they had. When you win, it's a reflection of what they haven't done. And that makes them feel small. That makes them question their own worth. And instead of using your success as motivation to do better, they use it as a reason to tear you down. What makes this even harder to deal with is when it comes from someone close to you, a friend, a family member, someone you trust. You start asking yourself, am I imagining this? Am I overreacting? But no, you're not. You're seeing the signs of someone who isn't truly happy for you. And that's okay. But here's the thing you need to understand that's not your problem. Don't internalize their jealousy. Don't make it about you. A real friend, a real supporter, they're going to be in your corner. They're going to lift you up when you succeed. They're not going to make your achievements feel like they're too much or too big for the room. They're going to celebrate with you. And even when they're going through their own struggles, they'll be happy that you're winning because they see your success as part of the bigger picture. They know you're not in competition with them because there's room for both of you to shine. But with a jealous person, that's different. They're going to find a way to make your win feel smaller. They're going to try and cut you down to size. And what's even worse is that they might try to do it in a way that makes you question yourself, your worth, or your achievements. They might start bringing up your past, things that are completely irrelevant to the present moment. Why?
If you want to make a full-time income from home working part-time, you need to know this one concept because they're...
Why? Because they want to remind you of your flaws, of things you've already learned from. They want to deflect attention away from your success and shift the focus to your mistakes, to things that have nothing to do with the person you are now. And that's where you have to draw the line. Don't let their jealousy make you second guess yourself. Don't let their inability to handle your joy steal your happiness. The moment you realize they can't celebrate your success is the moment you realize you need to keep your distance from that energy. You don't need that negativity in your life. You don't need people around you who aren't genuinely happy for you. You need people who lift you up, who see your success as something to be proud of, not something to be threatened by. The truth is, your success isn't their failure. It never was, and it never will be. But if they can't see that, if they can't handle your joy, then it's time for you to move forward, keep growing, and leave that energy behind. Real friends don't let jealousy stand between you. They stand by your side, and they cheer you on no matter what. So if someone can't do that for you, then let them go. And keep moving forward because your success is your own and nothing or no one can take that from you. Here's the second sign they throw shade, but it's always disguised as advice. You know, there's always that one person who's got something to say. No matter what you do, no matter how you move, they've always got advice ready for you. They act like they're looking out for you, like they've got your best interest at heart, but deep down, you know it's something else. It's never really about helping you. It's about putting you down, about making you second guess yourself, about taking shots at your choices, your path, your life. They don't come out and say it though. Nah, they're too slick for that. They disguise it. They frame it as advice, like they're just trying to show you a better way to do things. But when you really listen, you know it's not about you doing better. It's about them trying to make you feel smaller, to make you doubt the decisions you're making. They're not giving you advice, they're giving you shade. And they're doing it under the guise of concern. They'll tell you how you should have done this or how you could do that better, all the while ignoring the fact that what you're doing is working for you. It's not about improving you, it's about controlling you, making you feel like you're not good enough. If someone's constantly telling you how to live your life, how to make your choices, but never celebrating your wins, that's a red flag. That's jealousy. That's insecurity in disguise. A real friend lifts you up. They support you even when they don't have it all figured out for themselves. They don't make you feel small. So when you hear more constructive criticism than support, it's time to recognize the truth. Third sign, they talk behind your back, but never to your face. If you've got someone who's always got something to say about you when you're not around, but they never say it to your face, that's jealousy at its finest. This one is sneaky. And it can fly under the radar if you're not paying attention. They'll smile in your face, act like everything's cool, but the minute you're out of the room, they're talking behind your back. Gossiping, spreading rumors, talking down about you. They're trying to tear you down because they can't stand the fact that you've got something they want. They see you out here living your life, doing what they wish they could do. And it eats them up. They can't be happy for your success, so they'll try to tarnish your name, spread lies, or twist your words. They'll make you out to be something you're not because it makes them feel better about themselves. It's like they're hoping that by talking about you, they can drag you down to their level. They'll talk behind your back because they know they don't have the guts to say it to your face. Why? Because deep down, they know you wouldn't stand for it. You'd call them out. But they know when you're not around, they can say whatever they want and get away with it. The truth is, a person who's secure in themselves doesn't need to talk about others to feel better. They don't need to spread negativity to lift themselves up. A real person, a strong person, will talk to you directly if there's something on their mind. But jealousy hides in the shadows where it can spread its poison without consequence. So if you catch wind of someone talking behind your back, you better believe they're not your friend. They're just too scared to say it to your face. Now let's move to the fourth sign. They try.
So you like to kind of watch the rest of that on 7 signs. 7 signs. Let me check the concept. Guy kind of sound like Denzel Washington, man. Any comments, concerns, anything that was said that might reflect on things that might happen in the past, present? Please don't hesitate to share.
Yeah, Salakia.
Okay.
Come on. Yeah, just want to bring out that. Just watching that video and the one before, I think it mentioned that when someone's jealous of you and they commit certain actions, just remember it's not you, it's them. And like in the truth, we've got to ask ourselves, if you love your fellow neighbor, would you show them kind of signs? Would you, act in a certain way against your fellow Israelite brother or sister? And it just made me think of another scripture in Romans about loving your fellow brother and your sister in the truth. And that is like a fulfillment of the law. So all these actions, if you think that you've got those kind of attitude towards someone else, you're showing them signs of jealousy towards someone else, and you want to bring them down, that's not like exercising any love. And it just made me think that we need to really examine ourselves if we're showing any of those traits with each other. Because if we're supposed to be showing love to each other, can I actually let me bring it out? Just 3 verses. Yeah, this is Romans chapter 13, verse 8. It was 3 verses. They say, "Owe no man anything but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Verse 10, love worketh no ill to his neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. So it's like basically it's law that we should be loving each other and not showing these jealous traits to bring down our brother or sister in the truth.
Calm,
That was
calm.
that really.
Beautifully spoken. What was that scripture again?
That was Romans 13:8 to 10.
Okay, we'll pray for myself. Yeah, yeah. What more can I say to that? Beautifully said. So this again shows jealousy versus envious. I believe envy was mentioned in the video, but mostly jealousy. Again, envy is wanting what someone else has, position, status, or qualities. Jealousy is the fear of losing a valued relationship or position to a third party rival. It could be someone else, or he's hanging around this person too much. I'm going to sabotage their relationship to keep this person around me. And obviously, you have the godly jealousy, which we brought out in 2 Corinthians 11:2. And then we also brought out Zechariah 8:2, which the Most High has godly jealousy towards us as a wrathful jealousy towards us. A great wrath, I believe it says. Got one more preset, and then we're going to move on to owning versus renting, second part. So was that Zechariah 8:2? Get that Bible chart. 1 Corinthians 13:4 and 5. 1 Corinthians 13. Yeah, the Most High was jealous for Zion with a great jealousy.
Yeah, can't. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, does not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil.
Yes, there's a couple points I want to touch in these two verses. When you got charity, you got love toward your brethren, toward your sister, and you're gonna suffer long for your people. You're gonna have love toward your people. Jealousy is not even gonna come into your mind. Envy is not even gonna come into your mind. You can be kind toward one another, and you're not gonna envy. Not gonna envy. It also says is not puffed up. When you get proud, you feel like you're better than someone. Feeling like, oh, I can do that better than them. That should have been mine. Or why isn't this mine? I don't want a person to get to this position. I want to keep them all to myself in this position rather than it being a godly jealousy and you want to keep them around to push them closer to the kingdom or closer to righteousness. That would be the only jealous act you should have for godliness for them, as we brought out in the previous scriptures or in the scriptures before. And then, yeah, you're not going to have any type of unseemly thoughts. You're not going to think any evil. Right? No type of imaginations toward your brother or sister. So that's all I wanted to touch on that. We're going to finish off with, I believe, 2 more videos. It might be one. I might just, it's too many to go through, so I might just leave it there. Let's get one more video. And then we'll just move on straight away. I'll probably get a shortest video already, to be honest. I'm pretty sure. No, let's get another video. Let's get this one.
Is there supposed to be sound to this app? Is there supposed to be sound to this video?
Yeah, is there no sound?
No sound.
See that?
No.
No, nothing. Let's play it again. See that? Four other king. We'll press it out. See that?
Why? Because your success reminds them of something uncomfortable. It reminds them of what they haven't done yet. And rather than confront that feeling, they try to reduce the value of your achievement. Psychologically, this is a quiet defense mechanism. If they convince themselves your success isn't that impressive, they don't have to face their own insecurity. The most powerful response is not confrontation. It's calm confidence. Just smile and move on. People who are secure don't need validation, and people who envy you reveal themselves over time. 2. They constantly compare themselves to you. Comparison is normal, but envy turns comparison into competition. You'll notice this when someone constantly measures their life against yours. If you buy something nice, suddenly they have to mention what they bought. If you share an accomplishment, they immediately bring up something they did. If you talk about your progress, they redirect the conversation back to themselves. It becomes a subtle scoreboard, not a conversation, not a connection, just quiet competition. What's interesting is that people who admire you often ask questions. They want to learn, but people who envy you want to prove something. They want to show they're doing just as well, or better, even when nobody asked. This behavior usually comes from internal pressure. They see your growth as a threat to their identity, so they try to rebalance the situation. But here's the truth. Your life is not a competition. And emotionally mature people understand that someone else's success does not reduce their own. When someone keeps comparing themselves to you, they're revealing something about their mindset, not your worth. 3. They disappear when you need support. One of the clearest signs of hidden envy shows up during important moments, when things are difficult, or when you need encouragement. Strangely, some people who are always around during ordinary times become unavailable when your life reaches a turning point. You might notice this when you launch something, start a new chapter, or go through a challenging period. They stop responding. They stop checking in. They become distant. Not aggressively, just quietly absent. Why? Because supporting you emotionally means acknowledging your journey. And if someone already feels threatened by your progress, that support becomes difficult. Your movement forward reminds them that they feel stuck. So instead of celebrating you, they withdraw. This isn't always conscious. Sometimes people don't even realize they're doing it. But emotionally aware people recognize the pattern. Real friends lean in when life matters. They show up, even in small ways, and when someone repeatedly disappears during your important moments, that silence is information. 4. They give backhanded compliments. Backhanded compliments are one of the most common signals of hidden envy. They sound positive, but something about them feels off. For example, "Wow, you actually look really good today." Or, "I didn't expect you to pull that off, but you did." Or, "You're lucky things worked out for you." Each sentence contains praise, but it also contains a subtle insult. The compliment is wrapped in doubt, or surprise, or dismissal. This is a psychological balancing act. They want to acknowledge your success, but they also want to protect their own ego. So they insert a small negative element, just enough to reduce the impact. People with genuine respect give clean compliments. No hidden message, no small sting attached. Just appreciation. When someone repeatedly mixes praise with subtle criticism, it's usually not accidental. It's emotional discomfort leaking into language. And the best response, again, is calm. You don't need to challenge every remark. Silence is often the most powerful signal of confidence. 5. They feel uncomfortable. When others praise you, watch how people behave when someone else compliments you. It reveals more than words. Imagine you're in a group conversation. Someone says something positive about your work, or your personality, or your achievements. Most supportive people respond naturally. They agree. They smile. They add something positive. But someone who secretly envies you may react differently. They might interrupt, change the subject, make a joke that reduces the compliment, or suddenly bring attention to someone else. It's subtle, but the shift in energy is noticeable. Praise directed at you creates tension for them, because attention is a form of social currency, and envy is sensitive to that currency. When someone feels threatened by your presence, they unconsciously try to redistribute the spotlight. Again, this behavior is rarely aggressive. It's quiet, almost invisible. But once you see it, you start recognizing it everywhere. Social psychology teaches us that attention shapes status, and people who struggle with envy often react strongly when someone else receives it. 6. They secretly enjoy your setbacks. This is the most uncomfortable sign, but also the most revealing. Sometimes you'll notice that when things go wrong in your life, a certain person suddenly becomes more engaged. They respond quickly. They ask many questions. They seem unusually interested in the situation. At first, it might appear supportive, but emotionally, something feels different. The tone isn't concern, it's curiosity, sometimes even relief. Why would someone feel relief when you struggle? Because setbacks temporarily restore balance in their mind. When you succeed, they feel behind. When you struggle, they feel equal again. This doesn't make them evil. It makes them human. Envy is an ancient emotion. It appears whenever someone compares their life to another person's progress. But emotionally mature people learn to transform envy into motivation. They see success and think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. People who don't develop that maturity stay trapped in comparison, and comparison slowly becomes resentment. That resentment leaks into behavior, small comments, subtle reactions, quiet patterns. And over time, those patterns reveal what words never say. One of the strangest truths about personal growth is this. The moment you begin becoming more confident, more focused, and more peaceful, you start triggering reactions in people who are comfortable with the old version of you. Not everyone celebrates your evolution. Some people preferred you when you were smaller, easier to compare with, easier to control, but growth changes dynamics. And that's not a problem. It's a sign that you're moving in the right direction, because the people meant to walk with you won't feel threatened by your light. They'll feel inspired by it. So the next time you notice someone quietly downplaying your wins, competing with you, or acting strangely around your success, don't react emotionally. Just recognize the signal. Stay calm. Stay focused. And keep building your life. Because the most powerful response to envy is silent progress. If this perspective helped you see people a little more clearly, consider subscribing. Not for motivation, but for deeper understanding of the psychology behind confidence, power, and human behavior. And sometimes, seeing the truth quietly changes everything.
One's a bit heavy. Still on this lesson. Any final comments or jealousy? Please let me know. Just want to wrap this up quickly. Go over it one more time. So if someone's envious of you, they want what you have, i.e., going into covetous, and someone's jealous, they either want time from you or they're afraid of losing some type of position to someone else. And then obviously you have godly jealousy, which is wanting the best for that person, for them to not go astray. And ultimately, as you know, the Most High has a godly jealousy for Israel. So that sums it up regarding jealousy. Most High willing a brother can do a part two if it's the Most High will, or a brother can just do a lesson straight on envious or envy. That's the screen. Right. So as we know, we're in a time where it's either you buy or you rent, and it's harder to buy in these current times. Not just because of the war that's going on right now, but just in general. The past, 10, 15 years, we ain't be able to, well, we haven't been in a position to get easy loans as our forefathers and foremothers, or even just take out certain mortgages based on credit rating or job opportunities. And banks are getting more tighter, and it's taking longer to also pay back these mortgages. If anyone's got any information, please don't hesitate to make it be known. If you know anything about property, hey, this is the best time for you. So it's owning versus renting. We're going to see in the biblical times that our people own lands, houses. They was able to remortgage, able to sell their houses, their lands, and also help out the profits. Right? Maybe you was in a debt or someone was in a debt and you had to remortgage or whatever the case may be. A lot of these rich people, they have to ask their parents to remortgage the house to get maybe a new company set up or even just pay off some of their debts. So I don't think it's just like poor people that have to remortgage or whatever the case may be. Sometimes some of these people that want to get their company up and going, they ask money from their parents that might be on their last maybe 5 years of their mortgage and they have to remortgage the whole thing, give it to the child. The child sometimes maybe more than less or buy this company or set up this company and then pay back their parents. And sometimes they even turn to be billionaires or even close to trillionaires because they've been given a lot of income to kind of set up their company or whatever the case may be. But there's always someone that helps them put it that way. So to be in a position to pass generational wealth down to your children, you definitely need to own. But at the same time, is it worth it now owning rather than renting in this current climate? So, Brother Sana, can you get Leviticus 25 and 29? Brother Kashar.
Can't.
And then we'll put some videos. Owning versus renting. And yeah, again, any commentary, please don't be shy. You can speak, you have a voice. Owning versus renting. Okay. So that's Leviticus 25 to 29.
This is Leviticus chapter 25, verse 29. And if a man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, then he may redeem it within a whole year. After it is sold, within a full year, may he redeem it. Continue.
So yeah, if you got a house and obviously you own it, that's the only way you can sell it. If you was renting, you wouldn't be able to sell it because it's not yours. You'd have to go to the landlord and say, cool, can I get a loan or whatever the case may be. Right. But if you've got land or if you've got a house, you can do whatever you want to do with it because it's yours. Right. Whether if you want to give it to maybe the profits to go on their mission to travel, you want to help out your sick mum. You've got a form of income basically that you could use at your disposal, right? Even if you haven't paid all of it off, as I said again, you can remortgage, right? I learned quite a bit about that when I used to play Monopoly when I was younger, right? You didn't have enough money, remortgage, you kind of get some money back, the money what you paid before when you was paying it off for say 10 years or whatever the case may be, you kind of get that money back. Obviously, it might be at a lower portion. They might not give you all of it back, but you get to get most of the years you paid off back. But obviously, you got to start again, basically. So That being said, obviously, a man, or not obvious, but a man would have to sell or can sell basically some of his land or the whole of his land. Right? When we go to Leviticus 25 and 29, there's more precepts and scriptures that's going to actually go into a more in-depth breakdown of people selling their land and selling their houses, their vineyards, selling things that they own in it. Right? This is owning versus renting. Right? So we're going to go back over that, but let me get precepts first and foremost. So what was that Leviticus 25 and 29, right? That's Leviticus 25 and 29. Yeah, come on. So yeah, you can actually read on. You can read on.
Yeah. Verse 30. And if it be not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall be established forever to him that bought it throughout his generations. It shall not go out in the Jubilee,
Come on.
but the houses of the villages which have no wall round about them shall be counted as the fields of the country. They may be redeemed, and they shall go out in the Jubilee.
So in the Jubilee was a time where it's every 50 years, right? Everything will just be returned back. So if you owed someone money, that would be just forgotten about. It would be like a refresher sort of thing, right? Esau kind of does it nowadays with the, I believe it's every 6 years. Was it every 6 years? If you over debt for over 6 years, they kind of just write it off. Right, if a brother can correct me if I'm wrong, every 6 years. Right, they kind of get that from the scriptures, man. Right, and even then, Esau's got his sneaky ways about it because sometimes after 6 years, that debt will still be there. Right, you go on, what is it, Experian and all these websites and check a credit or whatever the case may be, and it'll still be there. Right, you might have CCJs or whatever the case may be. Some brothers even, or even sisters, uh, they say, you know what, I'm just going to be bankrupt, get rid of all my debt. I'm going to put all in one place and get someone to help me out. But then you can't get credit cards and certain things. There's certain ways to beat the system, right? But the point is, if you have a house, you can sell it. You have to actually own the house to sell it, right? As opposed to renting the house, right? But you got to choose your pros and cons. We're going to go through the videos to see if it's worth renting or if it's worth owning. Each of the owner depends on your circumstances. That's the only advice I can give you. It depends on the circumstances. But if you do want to pass generational wealth down, if you do want to pass money down, it's only right to have a property. But at the same time, if you want to pass your business down, you might say, no, I don't want to get a property, then so be it. You can pass your business down to your child or even to your family members, right? Be an entrepreneur or be a business owner. Property is not the only way. So that's just a bit of advice from me, depending on your circumstances. Where are we at now? Verse 31, right? No, verse 2,
I
verse
finished
32. Yeah, verse
32. Yeah.
No, that's it. So let me get because I want to start in the law. Right. Let me get Acts 5 and 5. I'm gonna get some commentary on Leviticus 25. Quickly share the screen. Leviticus 25. Yeah. So context applies specifically to houses within walled cities. Um, the seller has a full year, 1 whole year to buy the house back. Restriction, if not redeemed within that year, the sale becomes permanent and it does not revert during the Jubilee. As I said before, in the Jubilee, everything resets and you have to give it back. We forget about the debt, XYZ, XYZ. Unlike land in open country, notes Bible.com. Exception, houses in villages without walls or in Levite cities had different, more flexible redemption rules according to Bible.com. And the main point of me bringing that out was just to show that we own houses. You know, it's going to Jubilee, the seller, the full year, whole year, you can buy it back. If not, then it becomes permanent forever, as we read in verse 30, I believe. Yeah, no, verse 30, we read that. So yeah, come on. So we can get Acts 5 and verse 5.
This is Acts chapter 5, verse 5. And Ananias, hearing these words, fell down and gave up the ghost.
Come on.
And gave up the ghost. And great fear came on all them that heard these things.
So like
And
it
the young
Acts,
men arose.
so like it Acts 5, verse 1 to 5.
Yeah, I want to find that's lucky. This is
my fault. I kind of jumped the gun. Yeah.
straight to the punchline.
Yeah. I kind of jumped the gun. Okay. So Acts 5, verse
This is
1 to 5.
verse 1. This is Acts chapter 5, verse 1. But a certain man named Ananias, with Sapphira, his wife, sold a possession and kept back part of the price. His wife also being privy to it, and brought a certain part and laid it at the apostles' feet.
So
And
a man and
Peter,
his wife, like a man and his wife, sold a possession, right? And they kept back part of the price, and his wife also knew about it. She was privy to it, right? Basically, they didn't have to say, "Look, I just sold this bit." They could have said, "Look, I sold the whole of it, but I only want to give this bit." But they said, "Look, I sold this amount, and I'm giving all of it," not telling them that basically I sold all of it, but I only want to give a bit. Right? Basically, being deceitful and not saying what it is, and trying to make it out like they're doing more than they are. Basically, you can read on, bro.
But Peter said, Ananias, why hath Satan filled thine heart to lie to the Holy Ghost and to keep back part of the price of the land?
Yeah. So we understand
Whilst it
now.
remained,
Sorry, we understand now. Verse 1: the possession what they sold was land. Right, go again.
whilst it remained, was it not thine own? And after it was sold, was it not in thine own power? Why hast thou conceived this thing in thine heart? Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto Yahweh.
Yeah, he didn't need to lie
And
about that.
Ananias,
Well, okay, they didn't need to lie about that. He could have said, "Look, I sold my land. I only want to give this bit," right? But they made it out like they sold just a bit and gave all of it, when that wasn't the case, right? So you can read on, bro.
and Ananias, hearing these words, fell down and gave up the ghost, and great fear came on all them that heard these things.
Yeah, man. He lied to the Holy Spirit. He gave up the ghost. When you read down more, you find out that his wife has the opportunity to tell the truth also as well, and say, "Look, we sold the land, and we made out there's more than it was," and that would have been it. So they thought they could lie to the Holy Spirit and get away with greed, really. And yeah, you'll find out what happens to her. So that's Acts 5 and 1 for those that want to read it. But that was just to prove that yeah, we was owning properties, we were owning land, vineyards, New and Old Testament, and it's also in the law that a man can own a house and land. Let's move on swiftly. We're going to stay in Acts. Let's get Acts 2 and 42 through 47. That's Acts 2, 42 through 47.
To the end. This is the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 42. And they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, and in breaking of bread, and in prayers. And fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles. And all that believed were together, and had all things common, and sold their possessions and goods, and parted them to all men, as every man had need. And they, continuing daily with one accord in the temple, and in breaking bread from house to house, did eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart, praising Yahweh, and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved.
God, yeah, man. So they was doing good to the apostles, man. They was doing good to men that was out there laboring, right, putting their lives in the line, hazardous, making their life hazardous for Yahushua, man. Right, to actually give them their possessions and goods, man. Right, not like in a Christian church when you go and sell your house and go and give up all your wages to a lying bald head, no mustache, no beard, greedy pastor, man. Right? No, they were giving it to the apostles, man. Right? And they had liberty to give what they want to give. They didn't have to give everything and lie like Ananias and his wife and keep that part. Right? Just give what you can give in it. If you want to give it all, give it all. If you want to give half, give half. If you want to give 10%, give 10%. Right? If you want to give a free will offering, hey, give it. So yeah, as you can see, again, they sold their possessions. So what we were finding out is that we had possessions. We had land, we had houses, we had vineyards. So we were owning stuff, right? So let's get a video now on it. Because just because we were doing it then, don't mean we can do it now. We might not be in the best position to do it. But if you are, hey, it's a good thing. Because at least you can have the option to sell it, to rent it out, right? You might say, you know what, yeah, I used to rent when I was younger. And now I actually own a house. Instead of me selling my house, I'm going to actually rent it out to someone, right? As I used to pay rent, someone else is going to pay rent to me. That's continual income, man. Then you can pass it on to your children, your mom. You can pass it on to someone to share it, whatever it could be. And you have abundance of income to do what you want with it, man, in righteousness. All right, so let's get this video. Let's share the screen. What do they call it? Financial freedom. All right, financial freedom. So video.
Owning a house and buying a house and taking out a mortgage and taking on debt ain't all that it's cracked up to be. The Realtor Association of the world has done a great job of saying renting is throwing away money, because that's what the American dream was 50 years ago. Yeah. Buy a house, 2-car garage, picket fence, 2.2 kids. That's what the American dream is. The American dream today is economic freedom. Pick and choose wherever the hell you want to go. Keep it moving and stay flexible and keep your overhead low. So what people forget is that, all right, you know that if you're going to buy a place, first thing you're going to look at is the mortgage payment, right? So typically, I mean, the last 6 months, it's gone from 3% to 6%. That's double. I'm not a mathematician, but I'm pretty sure 3 to 6 is double. Good. But the three things that people forget about when they go to buy a house, and for those of us that have bought a house, they get it now. Those of us that have not, is what I call the big three expenses. That's your taxes, your maintenance, and your insurance. Those are three things you do not have to pay for if you're renting. Owning a house.
Yeah, so that's a quick insight on owning versus renting in this current climate. Not back in the days, not in biblical times, and it was a lot easier.
Frizz off. That's what I feel like saying when my hair starts frizzing up. I'm using the Aussie Frizz Off Serum. You gotta try this.
$50,000 for the first time in your life. You found a place, 3 bedrooms, solid neighborhood, $430,000. Your real estate agent is already in your ear. This market moves fast. If you wait another month, this is gone. Rates could go higher. Your mom calls every other week asking when you're going to stop wasting money on rent. Your older cousin bought 3 years ago and won't shut up about it at every family gathering. Equity this. Locked in rate that. Posting pictures of their backyard renovation like it's a personality. And you're sitting there with your $50,000. Running these numbers for the 100th time, trying to figure out if you're being smart or if you're just scared. Because here's what the numbers actually look like. At 6.5% interest with 20% down. That's $86,000 on a $430,000. Your mortgage payment comes out to around $2,170 a month. Then you add property tax, roughly $400 a month. Insurance, call it $150. Maintenance, the standard estimate is 1% of home value per year. so another $358 a month. You're at $3,078 a month before you've bought a single piece of furniture or fixed the first thing that breaks. Your current apartment, but similar size, same area, is $2,100 a month. Your gut says renting is the smarter move right now. But everyone around you is calling it a mistake, throwing money away, never going to build wealth if you keep renting. So here's the question that's keeping you up at night. Which one is actually cheaper? And here's what nobody's going to tell you. There's a simple rule that answers this question in about 30 seconds. It's called the 7% rule. And once you understand it, you'll stop listening to real estate agents, stop listening to your family, and start making this decision based on actual math instead of pressure. From people who either make money when you buy or just want to feel like their choices were right. My name is Marcus, and I spend a lot of time thinking about why people make the worst financial decisions of their lives, because someone told them renting is throwing money away. Quick note before we get into it, nothing in this video is financial advice. This is purely educational. I'm here to break down the math so you can make better decisions on your own. If you've ever felt pressured to buy a house you weren't sure you could afford, or you've been told you're being stupid by renting, stick around. Because today we're breaking down the rent versus buy decision using real 2026 numbers. And the answer might not be what you've been told to expect. Let's get straight to it. Here's the lie. When you rent, you're throwing money away. When you buy, you're building equity. Sounds good. Completely wrong. Because here's what they don't tell you. When you own a home, you're also throwing money away. Every single month. You're just throwing it in different directions. According to 2026 housing market data, renting is increasingly looking like a strategy rather than a setback. And there's actual math to prove it. Let me show you what you're actually paying for when you build equity. The 3 costs of home ownership. When you own a home, you have 3 major costs that disappear forever, just like rent. Nobody talks about this, but these are the real throwing money away costs of ownership. Cost number 1, property taxes. You own the house, but you still have to pay the government a percentage of its value every single year. In the US, the average property tax rate is about 1.11% of home value annually. On a $500,000 house, that's $5,550 per year, $462 per month, gone forever. You're not building equity with property taxes, you're paying the government for the privilege of owning property. Cost number 2, maintenance. Experts recommend budgeting 1% to 2% of your month's fees. Your home's value annually just for maintenance. Let's use 1% to be conservative. On a $500,000 home, that's $5,000 per year, $417 per month. For the roof that will need replacing, the water heater, the foundation crack, the plumbing disaster at the worst possible time. This money disappears. You're not building equity by fixing a broken furnace. You're just keeping the house from falling apart. Cost number 3, the cost of capital. This is the part nobody explains clearly, so pay attention because this is where the 7% rule actually comes from. Your money has something called opportunity cost. When you put $100,000 into a down payment, you're not investing that $100,000 in the stock market where it could be growing. Historically, the S&P 500 has gained an average of 10% per year over the past 100 years. Meanwhile, homes traditionally appreciate by 4% to 5% each year. The difference? About 5%. That's the opportunity cost of your down payment, the returns. You're missing by tying up money in a house instead of investing it. Plus, you're paying mortgage interest on the remaining 80% you financed. At current 2026 rates of around 6.5%, that's substantial. Let's do the math on a $500,000 house. 20% down is $100,000. You're financing $400,000. The opportunity cost of the down payment at 5% is $5,000 per year. The mortgage interest at 6.5% on $400,000 is roughly $26,000 in the first year. Combined, that's $31,000 per year, or $2,583 per month in capital costs alone. Now, let's add it all up. Property taxes 1.11% plus maintenance 1% plus opportunity cost and interest 5% equals approximately 7% of the home's value annually. This is the 7% rule. To find out how much home ownership actually costs you per month, take the home price, multiply by 7%, and divide by 12. $500,000 times 7% equals $35,000 per year. Divided by 12 equals $2,917 per month. That's how much you're throwing away every month as a homeowner. Money you will never see again, just like rent. So if you can rent a similar house for less than $2,917 per month, renting is financially superior. Take the price of a house in your area right now. Multiply by 0.07, divide by 12. That's your break-even rent. Is renting cheaper where you live? Drop your numbers in the comments. Now let's talk about what's actually happening in 2026. Because the numbers are brutal. Mortgage rates are averaging 6.3% for the year, according to Redfin's forecast. That's down slightly from 2025's 6.6% average, but nowhere near the 3% pandemic rates everyone keeps comparing to. Some optimistic predictions put rates in the low 6% range occasionally, but no one is expecting them to stay below 6% for any meaningful period. And home prices? Zillow economists expect U.S. home values to grow 1.2% in 2026, while Redfin expects the median U.S. home sale price to rise about 1% year over year. Homes are getting more expensive, rates are staying high, and buying remains unaffordable for a lot of people, especially anyone buying for the first time. But here's what's interesting about rents. As of late 2025, median rent prices had declined year over year for 26 straight months. Rental affordability is actually improving while home buying affordability stays difficult. Nationwide, rents are expected to rise about 2% to 3% year over year by the end of 2026, roughly the pace of inflation. That's manageable. Meanwhile, home ownership costs are locked in at whatever rate you buy at today. Look, I'm not saying buying is always the wrong call. I'm saying it's the wrong call right now for most people in most markets. Buying makes sense when you're staying put for 10 or more years minimum. Transaction costs eat you alive on short timelines. It makes sense when the 7% rule actually works in your favor, meaning monthly ownership costs are significantly lower than comparable rent. It makes sense when you have a massive down payment, 30% to 40% or more, which reduces both your mortgage and your opportunity cost dramatically. It makes sense if rates ever drop to 4% or below, because at 3.5% mortgage rates, buying becomes financially superior to renting in many scenarios. And it makes sense if you value the intangible benefits enough to pay for them. Fixed housing costs, complete control over your space, emotional roots, those are real, but they cost real money. But here's the problem. Assuming an 8% average annual investment return, renting actually comes out ahead by about $120,000 over a decade in many current market scenarios. Let me say that again. Over 10 years, renters who invest the difference can end up $120,000 richer than homeowners in equivalent properties. That's not a rounding error. That's life-changing money. Now, homeowners watching this are getting defensive. But equity, but forced savings, but tax deductions. Let's go through these. But I'm building equity. You're also paying interest. In the early years of a 30-year mortgage, most of your payment is interest. At 6.5% on a $400,000 loan, you're paying roughly $2,167 per month in interest in year one. You're building maybe $400 to $500 per month in actual equity initially. Meanwhile, the renter investing that difference is building actual liquid wealth they can access without selling their home. But it's forced savings. You know what else is forced savings? Automatic investment contributions. Set up an auto transfer from checking to a brokerage account. That's it. Forced savings without the illiquidity, the transaction costs, and the risk of a housing market downturn. But tax deductions. The standard deduction in the U.S. is now $14,600 for individuals and $29,200 for married couples. Unless you have significantly more than that in mortgage interest to deduct, the tax benefit is minimal to non-existent. And even when you do get a tax benefit, it doesn't outweigh the opportunity cost and transaction costs of homeownership. But rent keeps going up. So do property taxes. So does insurance. So does maintenance. Your mortgage payment is fixed, but your total housing cost absolutely is not. Here's where I'll be fair to homeownership. There are real benefits that don't show up in any spreadsheet. Benefits of owning. Predictable housing costs with a fixed mortgage, complete control over your space. You can't be evicted by a landlord. Inflation works in your favor over the long-term, emotional stability and roots. But there are also real intangible costs that nobody talks about. You're locked in. You can't move easily when a career opportunity shows up somewhere else. You're responsible for every disaster, burst pipe.
Hello there, hope you're very well. My name is Paul Smith. I've been a property investor for the last 39 years.
Opportunity shows up somewhere else. You're responsible for every disaster. Burst pipe at 2 a.m. That's entirely on you. You're a liquid. Your wealth is trapped in walls and can't be accessed without selling or borrowing against it. And you're concentrated. Most of your net worth sitting in a single asset in a single location is a significant amount of risk. 52% of American renters prefer renting over all of the expenses and responsibility of ownership. 36% plan on renting permanently, according to NerdWallet's 2025 Homebuyer Report. That's not failure. That's people doing math and choosing freedom over being house poor. Based on mortgage rates staying in the low 6% range in 2026 and current home prices, renting is financially superior in most major U.S. markets right now. With many Americans still locked out of home ownership by high down payments and expensive monthly mortgage payments, rental demand will stay elevated. The math is
That's the difference between renting and owning. As you can see, it's a lot of information. It's a lot. Anyone got anything to say regarding that video? Any comments? Any information?
Yeah, Salakia.
Go.
Yeah, I know it's that video's very Americanized. It would have been good to see the UK version, but some interesting points there. But I think there's factors that they never really touched on, because when they were comparing the rent to the mortgage, there was comparing it over like a period of time. Like, was it like 10 years or something? But of course, in that length of time, there's so many other variables and factors like job security, relationships, labor costs if you're needing work to the property. Government might change laws on taxes, and all can have a real profound impact on either the rent you're paying or the mortgage. So it's good to plan over those long periods, but you've got to be prepared for those changes that could drastically have an impact on the rent or the mortgage. So it's like whether you're renting or mortgage, you should always try and obviously do it well within your means to allow for those changes.
And you don't know what tomorrow's going to hold. So you see,
That's
when you're getting out a mortgage, it's like you're taking a gamble, you're taking a risk. If you miss too many payments, then that house is gone. The same thing like a HP hire purchase on a car. You keep missing too many payments, they're going to take you to court. The bank will take you to court.
That's right. Yeah.
So you just got to weigh the odds in it, and there's no right or wrong answer. But we're just weighing up the odds. We read through the scriptures that we own land and we owned vineyards and houses. Some brothers own land and they own houses in other countries. It's easier. They haven't got to pay too much tax and stuff like that. So a lot of people wouldn't buy properties over here. Some would. It depends on your situation. Everyone's got their own situation. But we're just comparing it and showing that in the ancient times we did own lands, vineyards, and houses. And if you are going to rent, just know the difference and do what works for you, because renting might actually be better for you than actually owning. Let's get Acts 4 and 33. Acts 4 and 33. We might just play 2 more videos or one more video, and I'll see, call it a night.
Can I say something after you read that, please?
Good. Get the video loaded. It's an interesting topic. We don't really talk about these things, renting versus owning. And our forefathers and foremothers, they own land, they own property. I'm sure some rented also as well. But it's a good conversation, it's a good topic to actually talk about amongst each other as well, let alone a lesson that we're doing it on as well. And this opens your mindset, innit, to future goals and being ambitious as well. And I'm going to set my goal for this, I'm going to set my goal for that. I might have a good credit rating, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it's just good to have your mind open, innit, and not just be going from week to week, check to check, and not thinking about the long run, right? Whether it's generational wealth you want or just to have financial stability. You can read that, King.
I think was there a sister that wanted to say something?
Yeah, she said after the scripture, so we can.
Oh, okay. So it's like, was it Acts 4?
So I want the book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 33 through 35, isn't it? Yeah. 35.
Okay. This is Acts chapter 4, verse 33. And with great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Lord Yahushua, and great grace was upon them all. Neither was there any among them that lacked, for as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them, and brought the prices of the things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according as he had need.
Yeah, so they had things that they could sell to give to the prophets, the apostles, put at the feet, distributing it, right? Whether it's lands, houses, right? Their possessions, things that they could sell, innit? You can't really sell something if you're renting. You can't really
That's right.
sell your land if you're renting it. You can't really sell your business company if you're renting it, because they don't just have to be owning and renting property. It could be owning and renting land. It could be owning and renting a company, right? Owning and renting, say, like a food shop or whatever the case may be. Once you own it, at least you can do what you want. You can sell it. You can actually rent it to someone else and make money. You ain't got to sell it. But once you have the ownership, you can do whatever you want with it, whether you're going to sell it or rent it to someone else. Sister, Chell, you said you had something to say.
Yeah. First of all, the brother made some brilliant points actually, especially like with regarding like governments and changes in policies, and then you got like even things like war that can have an effect on like mortgage rates and things of that nature. And if mortgage rates go up, what people need to kind of understand as well, specifically if you're privately renting, is that the rent prices will have to go up because people will have to pay their mortgages. So sometimes like the amount of rent someone is paying is predicated on the actual mortgage prices and percentages. And unless you're renting socially from social housing. And then
Okay.
what else did I want to say as well? Like I feel like we don't have the same opportunities that our grandparents and our parents had, because I feel like it is a lot tougher, the housing property market. Like for example, um believe it or not, my dad's actually like a millionaire in property. Like he's got a bag of property all over London and in Jamaica. And not that I at this point we fell out some months ago. I've lost my dad, by the way, guys, in the sense of like, but I believe it's because of what I believe in, because he's totally against the Bible and always has been my entire life. Um, and yeah, we kind of had like a massive argument when I was in Jamaica, and some might even say that I was like may have dishonored him, but I believe that I had to just keep it real and say what was on my mind, and I might even have lost that financially. It's like it's that bad, but to be honest with you, possessions don't mean anything to me, and I do want to make it on my own. But I say that to say that despite the fact that we don't have the same opportunities as them and it's not as easy, I think the main thing that I've taken from him, because he hasn't really taught me much, to be honest with you. He's just left me to figure it out. All of us as well, not even just me, like my other brother and sister. Like, it's like, where's the advice? It's like, how I see it is he came to this country not knowing anything and he had to figure it out for himself. And he's got that mentality that you guys have to do the same thing, which is mad, but that's our people for you. Like, rather than like, you know how Esau will like teach their children the game, like this is how you do it. He wants us to figure it out for ourselves. But what I have learned, again, I say this to say what I have learned from him is that I don't think it's about just owning one property. I don't think that's the way to go about properties. I feel like if you buy one, you have to have in your mind that you've got to buy another. And the reason why I say that are for all the reasons that that man mentioned in that video with regards to the financial cost of having a property. If you have one property, then it's going to be extremely difficult for you to maybe manage it. And there's all these different types of situations or hurdles or circumstances that might arise like unexpectedly. But if you have a list of properties, so like for example, if you have another property and then you buy another one and you move into the other one, then if you have a financial burden, you know, the hope is that you're renting one of your properties or whatever the case may be. So there's always a financial income coming from that property that will hopefully pay for that mortgage as well as also put some more money in your pocket. Now, I have heard that the government has made it even more difficult for people to do that. Especially where they're coming in with these laws where it's hard to evict people. You can't just evict people for no reason. The eviction process is very long-winded and expensive. It can take, I'm going to try and be quick, but it can also take, also, some people just aren't paying their rent, and then the mortgage owners, you know, lose out on money financially that way, as well as having to go through the eviction process. I know that one time my dad went through that, and he learned a massive lesson, and that's also something that I would like to share as well. What he learned is that he's better off giving his houses to the council. So what he's done is, because someone was telling me this the other day, like some Elamite that I know was telling me how he sold all his houses because it's not beneficial. But in my mind, I was just like, no, my dad didn't do that. He just gave it over to the council so that the council could rent it out for him, and then the council's liable for anything that happens, and the council will always give you your bread, like regardless of whether the tenants are paying or not. So that's a kind of way to go around it. But yeah, I say that to say, when you're thinking about buying a property, I don't think it's about buying one, because if you buy one, then you might encounter financial burdens.
Okay. So yeah, that, beautifully said from the sister, and yeah, definitely buy more than one if it's in your means to do so. As the scriptures say, they had lands plural and houses plural. They had more than one.
Can I just add to that as well? Because I know some people might say,
just quickly, I was gonna say something as well. You see,
Sorry.
when you go to the like sell it to the, or not sell it, rent it to the council. What some people do also as well, they rent it to like realtors, like say Foxtons or the other like private housing people basically, where basically they can charge maybe a higher rate because the council. I don't know how much the council charge, but I know there's people that do go to people like Foxtons and they do get them to get the tenants rent and stuff like that and don't deal with the tenants direct. As you said, they take long to pay, and sometimes they could be like a hoarder or be like a squatter and say, you know what, I'm not leaving now, I'm not paying no rent, and it's long to evict them. So I know there's other ways to get it, but that's the first time I've heard of rent it to the council. That's also a good idea as well. And yeah, consistently say what he's going to say.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, because I'm saying, just buy another house like it's easy to buy another house. First of all, it's hard to buy the first house. But I guess like the whole, I feel like the method is that you buy the house, wait for it to build equity, and then you pull the equity out of the house to buy another house. So now it sounds mad because you're like, oh, just buy one house and then just buy another house. Like, it's easy to buy houses. It's really, really not. But my whole point is once you've got your first house, then you need to wait a certain amount of years for it to build equity. It could build 30, 40 grand, 50 grand equity on top of it. And then because houses, one thing my dad taught me is that house prices are always going to go up. So even despite what that man was saying in his video, like the house prices, when you think about the house prices 30 years ago, 40 years ago, they were like maybe less than 100 grand. Like a lot of the houses now, especially in London, are about 400, 500,000 pounds on average. And that's for like a 1-bedroom flat. We're not even talking about the 2 and 3 bedroom houses. Yeah. So it's about waiting for it to build equity and then taking that equity out and buying another house. And you would just follow that same process like over and over again.
And that's been said to me before as well, to basically make one pay for the other, basically. So you're moving to one, and then the other one that you purchased, which is not even fully paid off, and you're paying a mortgage on, you'll make that rent from there, whoever you're renting it to, pay for the mortgage in a new house. And hopefully the first one is in a good area where you can charge a lot of money per month. So then it makes sense to pay for the second house, which is bigger and in the area where it might not be near any train stations. All these things you've got to take into account. If say you live like somewhere in West Wickham or somewhere like say in Dulwich Village when there's no really any shops, there's nothing really there. It's still going to be high, but it's going to be more higher if you buy a property near a hospital, near a school, near say a shopping a center or whatever the case may be. It's going to be because there's more demand to be in that area. So depending on the times and depending on who wants to buy it, you can charge how much you want to charge. But the more things near to the house, walking distance as well, that's another thing, or bus stops, the more money you can kind of charge. Again, if any more information, add it on to as well.
Yeah, no, Slacker. What we're finding outside, I know outside of London anyway, up north is a lot of investors. They're buying up big properties and just turning them into HMOs because you can get a lot more rent when you rent out the room. So they're buying up the big properties and just setting up companies like special purchase vehicles or limited companies, and they're just buying up different properties and then putting, 4 or 5 renters in there, and then they're getting equivalent of like a whole house rent for just one room. Okay, it's inclusive of bills, but they're making good money on that basis. So that's like a growing thing, particularly as well where there's a lot of breakup of households. So people like moving out of houses and just like having a room to themselves, and breaking up of families. And so it's a growing like demand for that kind of setup, really.
God, yeah. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Actually, I was gonna say something, but I actually forgot. It slipped my mind now. But yeah, oh yeah, that's what it was. Downsizing. Downsizing. A lot of people are
Yeah.
downsizing as well. So sometimes you might be able to get a property for a lot cheaper than you would have got it when that person was maybe with all their children or whatever the case may be, and they just want to make a quick sell and they want to downsize because it's costing them too much. The room tax, that's another thing as well. A lot of things you've got to take into consideration when you're buying and when you're selling or even when you're renting. And this weigh up the balance, and there's no right or wrong way to say it. And it's if you can afford to rent or if you can afford to own. Um, and yeah, again, it doesn't have to be this property. It can be a company. Right? You can just say, I'm separate with my own business, and then I could just kind of take out this from that, or use this as leverage, or use that as this or collateral, or whatever the case may be. But some people use their business loans and use this to get that on, use this for tax purposes, and there's so many ways when you own something to make more money or make it. You use it as something else, basically, like as a front. Oh yeah, I've got this. This is like going to be my money. At least look, I got this. If anything happens, I'll just sell this. Some people use that as a guarantor or loans and stuff like that. There's so many ways people like get their up in life, man, and make moves in life. And this place is not our rest, but at the same time, you have to make money. You have to make moves, and you have to kind of get something and kind of use it as something and kind of make moves to kind of get around. You might want to go on a holiday, right? You might want to say, let me just rent out this property. Right, and then boom, 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 boom. Or you could just have another house for your brethren that come round, right, from another country or another city. Right, I've got this house here. You lot come down. You lot can kind of use it as a hotel. It's another thing as well. A lot of people getting into the hotels, and they kind of turning houses into hotels, or turning flats into hotels, or B&Bs, right, little hostels, and they're kind of making money off that from the council again, or from the government. Right, so yeah, we need this money for this. We want to turn this into hostel for the young children. There's so many ways you can do things when you kind of have like your P's and Q's and have your things set up. So this is the Acts 4 and 34 in the ESV. It states there was not a needy person among them, for as many as were owners of lands or houses sold them and brought the proceeds of what was sold. Yeah, so when you go to the voluntary sharing, or the key aspects of Acts 4 and 34, the sale of property was voluntarily, not mandated, driven by a deep sense of unity and care. So they had the means to sell their properties or their lands to kind of help out the apostles, and it was voluntary. Right. Elimination of poverty. This community effort effectively eliminated poverty within the immediate expanding Jerusalem church, which included many visitors from Pentecost. God, all praise the Most High. So we're rich people, innit? Don't think we're some people that just needs to just be always in a hole, right? And there's nothing wrong with renting. We're not saying there is. Do what's in the best interest of your financial means and what's in your pocket and what your job actually pays and what your future actually looks like. Because a lot of people, this is another thing as well, a lot of people, they travel a lot. So it don't make sense to them to buy any houses. They're always traveling. They're always in different countries, always seeing different people. They're always on the move. They always move from different cities. They always maybe have different job opportunities. And they're kind of like a freelance. So for them, getting a property wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be the right thing to do. They'd be putting themselves in more debt because they're always on the move. If you know you're not really in a city, you're not really in a town like that, you might not want to buy a house. You might not want to do that. You might just want to keep your money in your pocket and move around the way you like to move around. So,
can I add one more thing as
yeah,
well?
of course.
And also, just knowing as well that the captivity is soon done. Yahweh willing. So even if you take out a mortgage and it's like 35, 40 years or however long you're allowed to have that mortgage for, like the likelihood is like, God forbid we're here in 40 years anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, try and take out the longest mortgage is what I'm saying. Take out the longest mortgage because Yahweh forbid we'll be here for another 40 years actually paying that off.
That's another thing as well. They say you won't even live to even see a lot of the benefits of all the money you put into the house. Like once you finish paying a mortgage, they say, boy, you're more or less near your pension, depending on what job you have. Because some people can buy the house straight away. Some people can pay 50%. Some people can pay 15%. And some people, it just looks like, boy, you got to be paid for this house for the next 40 years, as sister said, because of your jobs, because you like to go take away, you might to fly out, all these different things. You might not have the means to pay it off within 20 years. And listen, another thing as well, some people take flats out and they don't own the whole flat. They own like, I think 85%. There's a thing that they started a few years ago where there's some government incentive. The government pays for some of it. They own some of the percentage. So you don't have to pay the whole 100%.
Shared ownership.
Yeah,
Khan. Shared ownership.
My cousin got that. So she moved into a new road, totally new road, new postcode, everything. They made a new road, everything. Own complex area, own little shops just right near the flat, everything just within. It's like them little private communities. She lives in like one of those, right? Just off the high street. Everything done up, proper people, like bougie people around there, XYZ, XYZ. She come to find out shared ownership. I'm like, what's that? This was years ago, innit? She was like, basically, like we have a group chat with all the neighbors in it, and we don't own the whole 100%. So basically, if she was to sell her flat, she wouldn't get all the money back for it, basically, if that makes sense. So it's shared ownership, and yeah, she said if she knew what she knew now, she wouldn't have done that. But yeah, these are some of the things. And like when there was something going wrong with electricity or something like that, like it won't take long to do, but you don't really have too much say in it because you don't even own, or you will never own 100% of it anyway. And it's kind of like a piss take in a way, man, because it's like you're paying for something and you don't really own all of it, and you'll never really own all of it. And at the same time, it's like they don't really care. Right?
But she may not have been able to afford that property if she couldn't buy a particular share.
I think she could, but she'll save money. Always is saving money.
Right.
Like they're saying, you don't really need to own 100% of it. You can just own 85%. We own 115. We'll cover the rest. We'll cover the rest. Remember, save money. Save money. What are you going to pay all that for? You don't know what they were saying or how they advertised it. Oh yeah, this sounds like a good insight. It just sounds like a good this, a good. As a sister, Charles said, listen, you see, back in the day, yeah, we used to own there's properties that are bought for £1. I don't know if you lot saw it. Years ago, they had it on Channel 4. I think it was
in Liverpool
for £1. Huh?
It was in Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, there was a few around the place. There's even some in Southwark in South London.
Right.
Council, yeah, I think I saw one in South London. £1 council houses, £1, Obviously, £1 back then was a lot of money. Like you might have been working 2 weeks to get that £1 because back then maybe 20p would have last you for the week or 50p would have last you for the week. Things were cheap back then, innit? Put it that way. So with £1 back then, I think in the 50s, 40s, the houses were cheap. Council house for £1. You can even type in Google council house for. You know what? That's gonna be the next video. That's the next video. I'm not even gonna play the rest of the videos. I'm just gonna play the last one, council house for £1, and that'll be it, man. They're definitely gonna do a part 2 on this. Guys.
Sorry, just one. As you're talking about that, I'm sure I spoke to my grandma, and I'm sure she said she's got a 1, 2, 3, 4 bedroom house And at the time when she bought it, which was about 40 years ago, maybe, I'm sure she paid $4,000 for it.
Mm.
And that was a lot of money back then, obviously, $4,000, because she was getting paid like 5p an hour. But do you know what I mean? Now that house is probably worth hundreds, if not a million or more.
Mm.
I mean, from $4,000 to that.
Yeah, we definitely gonna have to do a part two, man, because I just realized there's another video that I want to show as well that just came up, how to get a council house, and there's about 3, 4 different episodes, so definitely gonna have to do a part two. Own invested renting. Unfortunately, the special guest wasn't able to join today. Let me just get the first 5 minutes of this, and then I'll pull up council house for £1, because I know I saw it somewhere. Council house for £1. You lot are tripping. This came to my head now. Yeah, go. Yeah. Yeah, so we're wrapping up. We're wrapping up. One more video. Um, one more video. And that's it. Yeah, I think they removed it. They removed it off the internet, but it was definitely there. I remember seeing it. Council houses for £1. Yeah. Anyway, let's share the screen quickly. Yes. And the thing about a council house, once you, I think, stay there for about 7 to 10 years, I believe you get 35% off if you want to purchase it. It might even be more. It might even be 45% off. And some of these council houses are actually in good areas where it's like you got a lot of transport and a lot of traffic, as they say, moving forward, back and forth. So even if you was to buy it after a while, you can make a quick flip on a council.
Unfortunately, they changed that and I think it was 2024. So if you got your application in before the 21st of November, I think it was 2024, then you got the higher discount price, which in London is 136,000 or something like that. But if after that, after the 21st of November 2024, you got your application in after that, then it's gone down to 16,000 in London.
16 from 130 something to 16.
Absolutely took the piss. If you did not get your application in, yeah, okay, they took their piss. Pardon my French, but literally.
130 something grand, you know.
It's a 16 in London. Outside in London, you can get 38,000.
That's still low. So basically, if your property, say if your property was 200,000, you could have got basically mostly all of it taken off in the pay. Say maybe 5, 6, 7 years worth. Then from there, where it will just make sense to rent it for a bit before you even start selling it. It depends on the situation, innit? And then from there, you can maybe kit out, renovate it, then maybe still rent it out again. And if it makes sense, maybe sell it. But as you said, there's no point selling it if you haven't got another one.
Yeah, and you know what? With that discount as well, you didn't have to. You could use that discount as your actual discount, so you wouldn't have to have any money, but like solicitors' fees and stuff like that.
Yeah, just pay the rent how you want to pay it. With obviously a bank approved, like, oh, you hear it? It's there. It's there. Well, houses on sale for £1. Okay, at least I can play this. We'll play some more. So you finish saying what you're saying, sister?
It's a village.
No, that was it.
Dying,
okay,
really.
go.
It's just run down. It's just the Bronx. It's more like a prison. Everything's boarded up.
It's like Beirut. It's absolutely disgraceful.
The more people who leave this village, the worse it is for those who stay. This is Hordern, County Durham. It was once a thriving mining community, now emptied of work and increasingly of the people who gave it life and soul. Wherever you turn in Hordern, this is what you see. For every house that's lived in on this street, there are 2 that are boarded up. It makes for quite an eerie feeling. The locals, those who remain, sense it too.
Do you feel like sometimes you're the last family standing?
Yeah, I do actually, yeah. It's funny you should say that, to be quite frank, yeah. Definitely.
Is that a bit strange?
It is very, very, very strange. Because it's like an old Western movie. Just waiting for the ball of hair to roll down the street, you know.
Nobody seems to know what to do with so many empty homes. The bulk are owned by Accent, a housing association. They offered to sell 130 of them to Durham Council. The price, £1 for the whole lot. The council said no.
And then you get this.
Doesn't look too clever, does it, that?
Awful, awful. Foodstuffs, rats. We've had a plague of rats.
Yeah.
Awful, awful.
Conditions like this will hardly stop the rot. Over 100 more households are soon set to move out. Fingers are being pointed firmly at Accent, the area's biggest landlord. How did you get to this date?
I think that the quality of the houses has gone down. The Accent-owned houses, the repairs they weren't doing their repairs. And I think that people just moved out. And I think it sort of became like an epidemic. Because who would want to live in that house with that house and that house blocked up? And it's just like a disease that spread down the streets.
From the boss of the housing association, an alternative theory for this decline. A village that survived the closure of the coal mines, he reckons, may not survive recent welfare reforms.
So how big a factor is the bedroom tax?
Well, it is a factor. It's the straw that broke the camel's back, if you like. Previously, we had 67% of our 2-bedroom properties had single people in. But the bedroom tax means that is no longer affordable.
I'm being shown one of the few houses in Hordern to get a facelift.
And as you see, this isn't about the condition of the property. Property's been refurbished to a high quality.
And yet still, they say, they can't rent it out.
Is there anyone who's shown any interest in living here?
At the moment, no. I mean, we're trying to stimulate that demand, but unemployed single people who were previously the majority of people who were moving into these properties, as we said previously, due to welfare reforms and unemployment levels, no longer can afford to live in these homes.
Because they're on benefits and the benefits don't stretch?
Absolutely. Benefits won't cover, and that's just getting worse and worse.
Things getting worse is something they're getting used to in Hordern.
I mean, these houses here were lovely houses. People wanted these houses. They were lovely and clean. I mean, you can see a house there in the middle of it. It's like Beirut. It's absolutely disgraceful.
Isabel has lived here 38 years. She says the village has been abandoned.
There was Valerie, there was Nellie Golightly, Williamses, all them. They were all nice people, but they've gone to Peterlee. They've moved out because they saw what was happening. But who would want to come into Hordern? At the state of it, the back lanes, the walls has been kicked down.
What's happening here is all the more bizarre because this is a time where there's huge numbers of people desperate for social housing. In this county alone, there's over 11,000 people on a waiting list. And yet here, house after house is empty. This is you.
This is it.
Very nice. To people like Martin, the system seems bewildering. He was homeless after leaving the army. Now he lives in temporary housing provided by a charity.
If the option was there, would you consider it one of those bigger houses?
Yeah, definitely. But I don't know whether, like with a bedroom tax and stuff like that, so you have to pay extra for more bedrooms and stuff.
How tough has it been, I mean, to get social housing?
It is very frustrating, but it's just hard. I mean, you really want it and you don't get any response, or you just feel as though you're getting nowhere.
But even bought for £1, Durham Council says these houses would be too expensive to repair. They may now be sold on the open market. Residents talk of salvaging what they can, while something resembling a community remains.
Oh. Yeah, so there you have it.
For me, it was pretty quick.
Renting versus owning. Pros and cons. If you're in the best situation and if it makes sense for you and if you're able to do it, do it. Just remember that, hey, we're striving for the kingdom, but if you want to leave some stuff behind, if you want to make a quick flip and you're able to, then do it. No financial advice given, just proven in the scriptures that we own things, we own land, we own property. And if you're able to, do it also as well. If not, then rent out. Another thing as well, some people can't afford to actually leave either their mum's house or even leave shared accommodation. So some people have to live with, say, a friend or live with someone else. That's what I saw a lot of over the past few years. A lot of people, they would have to get like I think they call it a friend mate or a roommate or something like that. And they have to kind of just live within the house with someone else or even a flat sometimes and kind of go halves on the rent, the council tax, and maybe even like toiletries and food and stuff like that because it'll be too much for them to rent by themselves. So even within renting, it's still pricey. I believe the average 2 bedroom, depending on where you are in London, is like what, £1,000, 1,200 a month, depending on where you are. Could be more, could be more. But hey, renting versus owning, most are willing you're able to do what's in your pocket and what's in your future regarding your job, your position, qualifications, and yeah, what we desire as a kingdom ultimately. But this was a good lesson to actually brought out or be brought out towards our people. And if anyone's got any more financial information, anything regarding renting, any advice, anything they're going through now regarding renting and owning, please let me know. I just want to play 5 minutes of the last video and then sign up.
Discrimination.
This last video, 5 minutes of this I'm going to play. And then from there,
Stop their dreams. Mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, and grandparents contributed whatever they could spare, sometimes for years, until enough cash accumulated to purchase a home without any lender involvement. This was not easy money. It represented countless sacrifices, skipped vacations, worn clothing kept another season, and meals stretched thin so dollars could go into the house fund. Families kept their savings in coffee cans, lock boxes, or trusted relatives' homes rather than banks that had already proven hostile. When enough money finally accumulated, the purchase happened quickly, often in cash, surprising sellers who expected financing contingencies. The home belonged to the family from day one, with no bank holding power over their future. For Black families in the 1960s, pooling resources was not just practical. It was an act of resistance that built lasting ownership and a sense of dignity outside the control of hostile financial institutions. Contract buying schemes trapped Black families in agreements that looked like mortgages, but offered none of the protections or equity building that came with legitimate loans. Speculators purchased homes cheaply in neighborhoods experiencing blockbusting, then sold them to Black families at inflated prices through land contracts. These contracts required monthly payments exceeding market rates, but the buyer gained no equity until every single payment was made. If they missed one payment, the seller could evict the family and keep everything they had invested. The contract buyer had all the responsibilities of ownership, including repairs, taxes, and insurance, but none of the rights. Families paid for years only to lose homes over a single financial hardship. This predatory system thrived because traditional mortgages were unavailable. The experience taught Black communities that avoiding debt entirely was safer than trusting any agreement controlled by someone who did not have their interests at heart. Black-owned banks and credit unions became lifelines for families seeking fair financial services in the 1960s. These institutions were founded by Black entrepreneurs who understood that their communities needed access to capital that white-owned banks refused to provide. Mechanics and Farmers Bank, Citizens Trust, and smaller credit unions served Black neighborhoods with savings accounts, small loans, and sometimes home financing that was impossible elsewhere. The bankers knew their customers personally, understood their circumstances, and judged creditworthiness by character and community standing rather than only numbers on paper. Interest rates at Black-owned institutions were fair and terms were clear because bankers wanted borrowers to succeed. Some families used these institutions to save toward cash purchases, while others secured small loans to bridge gaps in their home buying plans. Black-owned banks represented self-determination and proof that Black communities could build their own economic infrastructure. Rotating savings clubs, known as susus, carried forward African traditions that had sustained communities for generations before reaching American shores. These informal groups operated on a principle of trust and mutual aid. Members contributed a set amount each week or month, and the entire pool went to one member on a rotating basis until everyone received their turn. No interest was charged. No paperwork was filed.
Okay. So you lot can kind of catch that video on your own. It's called Why Black Families Had No Mortgage in the 1960s. Banks Hated This. Woo. So yeah, there's a lot of information in that. All praise to the Most High, especially me, I'm shy. This lesson was jealousy, and the second part was renting versus owning. If at least one person was edified, all praise to the Most High. If everyone was edified, all praise to the Most High. It's my time. Stop. Audience, say shalom.